2019 will soon be gone. Purposeful leadership recognized time as an economic resource almost at par with capital, labor, and infrastructure. They never waste time or encourage the subordinates to do the same. Ministers appointed after June will spend the rest of the year coming to grips with their scope of responsibilities. Nothing much to be expected of them. Ministers who attempt to hit the ground running, to use the hackneyed expression of journalists, invariably lead their ministries into blind alleys. An example was the former Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, who made grand promises about the Lagos-Ibadan and Lagos-Calabar rail lines in 2016. The first should have been in operation now, according to him. Not only is there no rail commuter service between Lagos and Ibadan, international experts are now telling us that Nigerian rail line costs have been grossly padded. Time lost, money lost. The Nigerian president made no personal commitment to achieve the objective stated. It was more of an academic exercise. By contrast, when President John Kennedy of America, after the Russians sent an astronaut into space, announced that by the end of the decade, America will send the man to the moon and bring him back. He had provided a timeline for the objective. America was challenged to reach the moon by December 1969. Even though Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, the USA achieved the goal ahead of time. Two purposeful presidents after Kennedy, Johnson and Nixon, made sure that happened, but Kennedy got the ball rolling by establishing the framework for success. He got the brightest and best Americans to work on the project. By contrast, Buhari has now established the economic management team, which will make it possible for Nigeria to lift 100 million out of poverty in 10 years. That explains the difference between a purposeful leadership and wishful thinkers. Fifth, if a purposeful leader can be defined as one who does not ignore clear threats to the economy and security of his nation, then Buhari has failed at least on two instances. China, Indonesia, and India would not have allowed trucks to block the road to their major ports for 3 weeks because their leaders were aware of the undesirable consequences. Nigeria allowed its major ports to be blocked for over 3 years without government action. Even today, we are witnessing an impotent government which issued a 72-hour quick notice to the criminal road blockers. 3 weeks after, they're still there. It will never happen in China. For the writer, these are the 5 reasons why Nigeria will remain as a poverty capital until 2023. Writer is Dele Shobowale.
Well, I think listening to his analysis, it will showcase that he has grips of what he is talking about. However, I think also that it's not something of pessimism here. I think Nigeria could also liberate itself. But he has pointed out facts that are very concrete. Negligence and delay in anything at all never helps. And so, I don't know, in 2016 or 15, now after they won the election and all that, we started talking about giving more time in terms of appointment of cabinet and all that. It lingered till as long as it did. Now, we are back to waiting game again and then giving him time. I don't think it will make the nation progress. The last one is talking about threats to any economic progress. Once government, I have said the greatest problem of this country is that nobody is afraid of punishment because it does not exist. But verbally it exists copiously. But practically it doesn't exist. And then reward also does not. In fact, if you are behaving well to the point that you can be tagged a good citizen, you will just be relegated. And that has been the norm in this country. It's not only in this administration. If the people who go against the order of government are punished, others will resist doing the same thing. But now they came out and said, leave the road, but the blockade is there. Who is then in charge? Is it those people that have blocked the road or government? So certainly, like I said in summary, there is no way delay and, of course, negligence of certain things that are very much of a priority will make a nation move forward. So I agree with that guy, but I believe also there could be a twist in a way Nigeria will handle issues, and then they will not become the poverty capital. After all, we are not very much happy to be the poverty capital.
Okay, all right then. What did you mean?
I think let me appraise the writer for coming out with this kind of journalistic sagacity, because we have seen a lot of limitations when it comes to speaking out, even though we have and writing out, even though we have freedom of information bill, which is not exhausted, I look at it as a mere, invitation to treat, because even when you apply as a right of citizens to, get some certain documents, you're being limited under the Freedom of Information Act. Let me thank you very much. Well, looking at the criterions and the futures of the writer, you see that what we have, the leadership we have in this country from the time past down to the present, you will see that what has clearly been depicted within the line of leadership is that we have purpose-led leadership and wishful leadership. And you can see the way he pointed it out. We have seen a lot of programs, templates that are unimplemented. Now, coming to say that 100 million persons can be lifted within 10 years, well, I look at it as a mere hypothesis and manifesto within the corridors of power. Of course, these are what the electorates want to hear. But thank God that we have seen that even within the electorates, there are elites who are ready to speak out when issues like this comes in. It goes to show that when you see what the writer said, it goes to show that a lot of investigation and has been made by him, and looking at juxtaposing it with the present and the past leadership, it goes to show that we can't even achieve it as a country, and that we have been living in the past, and that past has been, frustration and delay in ensuring that certain policies are implemented, and this has affected the corridor of leadership in this country. And who is the end users? Who are the people that are affected? They are the least man, that man in the rural area, that man in the urban area. So I think that it can be achieved if we avoid hypotheses, if we avoid unrealized manifesto. Of course, we have the wherewithal, we have the resources, we have the money to do it.
All right, then.
But we need good thinkers. If we can get good thinkers, I'm sure we will implement our policies.
All right. Opitima.
Well, that is a very clinical write-up. It's a clear evaluation of what we all know. In fact, the president, in his June 12 address, there's a blunder he committed which has run through his government from 2015 till now. He said that they will correct the errors that were inevitable. And they begin to wonder, how can you correct something that is inevitable? These are things that are inevitable, and they don't have the capacity and the capability to correct them. So, we Nigerians, we have no alternative than to live with this kind of inevitable errors that will take us to nowhere. You see, we have not really had philosopher kings in this country, especially this present leader and those that are working with him. And that is why Nigeria is going down and down in every aspect of our national life. If somebody comes to say, look, we are going to lift 100 million out of poverty in the next 10 years, you begin to ask, where is the framework? Where is the blueprint? Or you just mat it. People say, and this leg where Nama go take Richu Mahia. It's this kind of starting point again that they can run us through to a prosperous economy. Because up till now, like the man rightly pointed out there, the Prime Minister of India has hit the ground running. The president since February was declared winner of the election. He's still trying to tell us that they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Why nothing is in place presently? The point there is that I always ask, in peer review, you have your brother president and prime minister in other countries. Don't you have sufficient literatures for you to go to read and know how they do some certain things that they achieve for the well-being of their country and replicate such in your own domain.
Okay.
100 million people to be lifted out of poverty within even 5 years is doable. For a president, for a leader that know what it means to manage the economy and to develop all aspects of the economy and do proper restructuring whereby the regions, the states will be part of that agenda.
Okay, Obidima, we got your thoughts on that. Chief Lofty, okay.
You see, I get worried when we try to paint issues as if whatever problem, whatever doom, whatever negative effect we are facing today is as a result of this present administration. I try to get pissed off when such intention is created. I'm very objective when it comes to national issues, because whatever good or bad that is meted on Nigerians will affect everybody. Since 1999 now, we have seen presidents that are good, they are their best. They can do everything good for this country. We have seen them. President Buhari has just spent 4 years. And I'm sure that it is not these 4 years of Buhari government that has messed up all the good things that all these presidents have done in this country. The truth is that Nigeria is a problem to itself, and that Nigeria is a problem to herself is the Nigerians. From the gate man or in the companies to the managers to the senator, everybody, we are all problems in this country. Because if you're talking about corruption here, at all facets of life in this country, there is corruption everywhere. That is the reason why we should begin to conscientize ourselves, to begin to change from our way of life, to advance to another level. Can you imagine where Ghana here will be asking Nigerians to come back to Nigeria? Xenophobic attack on Nigeria. That is to tell you that something is wrong somewhere. We are not using our population. We are not using our resources. The money we are making in this country. We are not using everything. Everything goes what. If you come to this country now, in all the states, you will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 persons that are commanding group of persons that are sacrificed to them. So whatever those people do is good to them. So as a result of that, the people cannot change. If I am a senator or I am a governor or a former governor, and what I'm doing is not very good, it is left for the people to come and say, no, we cannot continue like this. Let us change and do this way, so that the resources that is coming out from this country will be distributed to everybody. But instead of that, what you see is even the poor masses grouping themselves into different groups, singing praises to the man who is holding the wealth of everybody.
All right, then.
One person will be having hundreds of billions in his account, and what you cannot even have a meal in the day, and you are singing praises to the man. That's the problem of Nigeria.
Okay, let's move on.
See, Annie, there's something I disagree though with that writer. When it comes to semantic analysis, Buhari said, with leadership. He did not specify it in saying, for
My
instance,
leadership.
it's good. I don't think it means anything at all.
All right, then. Okay.
It does.
Banditry,
It doesn't.
violent attacks will soon come to an end.
It doesn't.
Buhari said.
And you don't hear.
So we need to do.
Obidima,
You make me to laugh too much in this studio.
They argue whether it does it, does it doesn't. Two of them will not allow me to.
Obidima is a problem here.
It's a problem.
You're more of a problem.
It's a problem. Banditry, violent attacks will soon come to an end. That's from Buhari. It says President Muhammadu Buhari, for the umpteenth time, has assured that the cases of banditry and violent attacks on innocent citizens in the country will soon be a thing of the past. President Buhari also commiserated with the government and people of Zamfara State on the recent infiltration of bandits who killed several innocent citizens in Safe local government area of the state. Like the writer said, he said, for the umpteenth time, he's assured that cases of banditry and violent attacks on innocent citizens in the country will soon be a thing of the past. Emmanuel.
You see, I think for me, the brief comment I'll make on this is seeing certainly will be believing.
All right, that's aptly put. Over to you, Chimene. What do you think?
I think Nigeria is now becoming a land of hypotheses. The reason is that their leadership, particularly this leadership, is not being sincere. You see, banditry has become part of, it's
Our
now
norm?
a way of life, particularly in the northern area. Now, like 2 days ago, I think yesterday, we saw the killings in Zamfara, where a village in Zamfara was invaded by banditry. But I think they should come up to tell us Boko Haram, because with what we are seeing, they have now taken over several camps, and I'm sure they are now hosting their flags. It's an insult to the sovereignty of this country. Now, I can tell you that the territorial power of this country, I'm afraid we shouldn't go into war with even Cape Verde, because we are not ready. When you have a plane that is making noise even before it starts, then you're in problem. Do we have a viable air force? Do we have drone? I was watching one drone that a boy did somewhere at Enugu, whom I would have loved Nigerians to, this leadership to plead, to teach them how to make drone. Are we ready? Are we technically ready? Do we really have soldiers that are ready? Because while I was coming now, I saw a soldier with CPAS going to Rumukuro market. I mean, it's an insult to the sovereignty of this country. It's an insult to the military apparatus. This is not what we want. If government is ready, government would have made provisions, made sure, at least depicted an action that people will see and say, yes, we are ready. If you say you want to stop banditry, I think it's laughable, because we are not even ready.
All right, then we got your thoughts on that. What did you name? Obitima, let's get your thoughts quickly.
And
We have to wrap
the
up.
point there is, I don't know how you put it. Somebody will say that the banditry and insurgency and kidnapping start today. Is it in Buhari administration? And sometimes I also ask them, Nigeria is the largest producer of rice today in Africa. Did it start with Buhari administration? You know, so the point is that the government in power, we should hold them accountable, not the past government. We are done with that past administration. It's the one that said that he can fix things that we should hold accountable. So whatever is the debit, whatever is the credit, we'll give it to him or her.
Right,
So the issue of bandits and all those things, I see it as all the reframe we have been hearing since 2015, technically defeated, what they call degraded, and all those things. And it will be like that until maybe the tribunal decide which way the election
Chief Loveday.
Is it that there are nothing good that has ever come out of this administration since its inception in 4 years ago? That somebody will come at every point in time you are talking negative about the government. Every government has its good and bad. There are certain things they have done good, and there are certain things that they may have also gotten wrong. So the most important thing is that appreciate the government, give them the credit where they have done good, and where they have where you feel that they have not done very, very well. You criticize the government. Not at every point in time you are seeing everything bad about the particular government. If government have said banditry will soon end, we pray for it. We wish that banditry and all kind of kidnapping and everything, even if it had not ended, it should reduce to its minimal rate.
All right, then we got your thoughts on
And
that. Thank you very much.
lest I
We have to
forget,
wrap
please,
up.
it will affect the world.
It won't affect any work, don't worry. We have to wrap up now. We'll come back after the news updates. Please stay with us.
Radio has never been this good. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
All right, hello and good morning. We've got the representative of Odibola Properties here with us. Odibola Properties has sent in Promise, the chief consultant. Promise, good to have you here. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Annie. Good morning also, valued listeners out there. Good morning. This morning, I want to be giving us 2 tips on how you can get value for your real estate investment. Now, you can get value for your real estate investment by doing these 2 things. Number 1, you can invest in a very fast developing environment. When you invest in a very fast developing environment, you look at what you should do so that your property is going to have value. Now, remember, this area you are investing are areas that are prone to development. You're seeing a lot of developmental stride. You're looking at government plans around the environment. You're looking at how peaceful the environment is. Now, you can do just a fencing. You do a fencing on your land, on your property. You do perimeter fencing on your acquisition and leave it for a while. Now, this will give you value for somebody who intends to sell off the property after a period of time, maybe a couple of 3, 4, 5, or 10 years time in future. You intend to sell it. Obviously, these places should be places where the prices are not high. Let's say property selling for 1 million or 1 point something million naira. Now you buy it, you buy 1, 2, or as much as you can afford. The aim is solely to resell it in future. Now, I tell you, in no distant time, you're going to make tremendous profit out of it. There is no business in the world that you will invest such money and you're sure that within this period of time, it will give you this level of return. Or number 2, you can also look at for an environment where people are clamoring to get an apartment for living, rents. Look at the environment that is developed, that is peaceful, that always have light. You look at constant light within Port Harcourt City, for instance. There are areas where people want to always live. Reason is because it's peaceful and the proximity to their offices and all that is unique. So you look at such area. This one now requires huge capital. Now, for you that have so much money, you can invest in that. You look at these areas, you buy. After buying maybe 2, 3, or 10, as the case may be, plots, you now fence them and build a wonderful apartment on it. You can call it an estate, a mini estate, or whatever the case would be. Maybe you build 2-bedroom flat or 1-bedroom flat, depending on the people you're looking at for that will stay in that environment. I tell you for sure, you are going to get a fast return. This one is not a long-time investment. This one is a short-time investment. Within a very short time, you're reaping at what you have invested. That's these two major tips, that 2 major ways you can get good value for your real estate investment. Now, as usual, Odibola Property, we have been into promo, the Skyview layouts, where we are doing Odibola Pay Small promo. Now, this Odibola Pay Small promo, we are honestly wrapping it up now because we are exhausting the number of plots marked out for this promo. This promo is, we call it Odibola Pay Small promo because you are allowed to pay 350 down payment. The balance of 600,000, you will spread it for as long as 4 years. Now, after your initial deposit of 350, we are going to allocate you the land, give you your survey plan, your registered survey plan with your name. We allocate your land to you. You are free to make use of the land. Do whatever you want to do. Now, like I said, this place is fast developing environment. Other than this, we have properties different area at the airport terminal, at the Gruta Alley, School Road, and several other places. All our property will have approval from Greater Port Harcourt City. These are places we have acquired fully and we are actually selling. There are a lot of features on the layout, well-planned layout with wide road and all that. Now you can take advantage of it and invest before we wrap up the sales. We are wrapping up any moment from now. You can take advantage of. For those of you that are interested, you can come down to our office at Nyenwelin Sirim Layout, Tombi Extension, GRA Phase 3. Come down as of Odibola House. You see there, pick your interest form, and that will qualify you for us to take you for inspection. Seeing is believing. Now, you can, for those of you interested also, you can call these following numbers for proper detail and explanation, description. Call 080-666-878-99. Let me take the number again, 080-666-878-99. Or you call this other number, which is 080-642-55150. Let me take the number again, 080-642-55150. Now, for you that is looking at investing within the Port Harcourt City here, we have properties at different locations within NTA, within Odili Road, Transamadi, different nice areas. Wherever you want property, be rest assured that we will give you a very nice location. We'll give you property that you will invest without breaking band. You know, that's it. That's what we are doing over the years.
All right, then.
Yeah,
So-
it's nice talking with you.
Okay, thank you.
She's already cutting me off. Do have
I
a
am.
nice day.
Promise. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. The news update comes up next.
News happens on its terms, so we give it to you on yours, the way you want it, anytime you need it. On the air, on Today 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Hello and good morning. Here's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Annie Abdul Salam. Chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Itse Sage, has described the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, as a very weak man who lacks initiative. Sage, who is also a senior advocate of Nigeria, said this while lambasting the INEC chairman over plans to register more political parties ahead of the 2023 general election. He accused Yakubu of not being proactive and collapses easily under pressure, adding that the INEC chairman only articulates problems without any solutions. 3 persons have been killed with about 20 others kidnapped following a fresh attack in Maradun local government area of Zamfara state. Several persons were injured with 500 cattle rustled away in the attack, which took place at the hometown of Governor Bello Matawali. Chairman of the local government, Ahmed Abubakar, said bandits stormed Faro village and Bachiri on Saturday, while an attack on Gamagiwa village was carried out earlier on Sunday. Youths of Bakana community in Dekema local government area of River State have discovered 2 decomposing corpses buried in shallow graves close to a river. This has sparked anxiety amongst residents of Bakana, who recently experienced an attack by armed youths who invaded the area, killing 3 persons. A resident of the community told newsmen that the bodies were discovered after unknown gunmen entered the community last week, Tuesday. In a bid to engender peaceful coexistence and cohesion, the Apex Chieftaincy Council of the Kalabari Ethnic Nationality, the Kalabari Council of Chiefs, has officially accepted and recognized Gibson Soku Tiga as Opusingi the 7th and head of Opusingi Group of Houses of Kula. The chairman of the Kalabari Council of Chiefs, Charles Dolphin, and over 80 members of the council performed the traditional rites to accept Gibson Tiger into its fold in Bugoma, the ancient Kalabari headquarters of Kalabari Kingdom. A member of the Opusingi family, Bob Opusingi, described the recognition of the Opusingi chieftaincy stool by the Kalabari Council of Chiefs as historic, while the spokesman of the Kula Supreme Council of Traditional Rulers, Fiala Okoye Davies, said the recognition of the Opusingi chieftaincy stool by the Kalabari Council of Chiefs has further given Kula its rightful place in the Kalabari Kingdom. And then to the foreign scene, Sudan's military has rejected Ethiopia's proposal to end the political deadlock over the composition of the country's transitional government. The ruling Transitional Military Council and the opposition coalition have been wrangling for weeks over what form Sudan's transitional government should take after the military deposed longtime President Omar al-Bashir on April 11th. Ethiopia's proposal, which the opposition coalition has agreed to, suggests that a ruling sovereign council will be made up of 7 civilians and 7 members of the military, with 1 additional seat reserved for an impartial individual. But the TMC spokesperson, Lieutenant General Shams Eldin Kabashi, instead said he agreed in principle to the African Union plan, which is not yet made public. Talks between the ruling generals and the Forces for Freedom and Change coalition collapsed when security forces stormed a protest sit-in outside the Defense Ministry on June 3rd, killing dozens. And with that, we wrap up on the news update here on Today 95.1 FM. Thank you for listening. Have a good morning.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
The situation is critical. The issues are diverse.
You see, courtesan in quote is the surname of all other criminalities. But this year, courtesan has a new child known as banditry.
I'm sure you are aware that the 6th Division of Nigeria Army is court-martialing some of its officers for being involved in kidnapping.
There is a consciousness that is going on that if you are into this thing, you become a supreme being.
The whole criminality we are seeing, especially as they occur in River State, they revolve around culture.
So what if you are volunteering information to an accomplice?
In seeking a solution, The Today FM Anti-Cultism Summit comes up on the 6th of July. Time 9 a.m. Keynote speakers are Amalpu Senibo Bobo Sophie Brown, Professor Chief Andrew Efemini, Retired Colonel Owunda, Professor Austin Sadun, and Ken Henshaw of We the People. Also on the table will be representatives of stakeholders and the various organs of influence that can help deal with the stemming tide of cultism. Keep the date, 6th of July 2019, 9 a.m. Let's fight cultism together.
It's good. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Are you job ready in this digital dispensation? Are you equipped with the right tools to navigate through the evolving times? NIIT presents Digital Skills for Industry 4.0. You will be equipped with data analytics, machine learning with R and Python, Internet of Things IoT, artificial intelligence, big data, business intelligence, DevOps blockchain, Digging Next MMS, and digital marketing. Please note, scholarship is available. Test date is Saturday, 13th July 2019. What are you waiting for? Run to number 1 Cardinal Street, D Line, Port Harcourt, and book your space or call
0817 389 0176 or 0806 962 5113
or visit www.niit.com/Nigeria to apply for the scholarship.
It's never been this good. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
I'll be talking to representatives of daily income stores. Let me know your name first of all.
Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Engineer Ofon Obokodom, of course, the MDC of Division Nigeria Limited.
Okay, so what is daily income stores? What's that?
Daily income store is a store actually that all you need to do is to walk into this store. Only once in a year you do your shopping, then drop your account details. As other customers are shopping after you, you are getting daily. This store is already 12 years old in over 100 countries. We are 6 years old already in Nigeria, and then we are 4 years old in Port Harcourt. And then people keep asking us questions, what exactly is this store selling? Actually, we are not selling anything far from our normal human being daily needs and wants. For example, now you are hearing us right now. You can never stay for 1 month without not brushing your mouth. You're going to spend money either on chewing stick or paste to brush your mouth. If you're also hearing us right now, you can never stay for 1 month without not taking your bath. You're going to spend money either on liquid soap, powder soap, or solids to take your bath. That means that human being daily needs and wants can never be satisfied. And you can never stop shopping. You have been shopping every day. You are not making money every day. You deserve to make money every day. So Daily Income Stores has this advancement in technology, has this innovation that all you need to do is to shop only once from this store, drop your account details, and get paid every day as other customers shop after you. That is why we are holding a powerful training, because we realize that so many people have been going to this store, shopped, and they walk out of the store. They don't know that they're supposed to drop their account details. So they work with the training today and tomorrow to show you how this store works. The training is going to happen in 2 sections. 11 a.m. this morning, no African time. You cannot come by 11 a.m. this morning today. You can come by 4 p.m. in the evening, of course, today after work. So the time again is 11 and 4 p.m. Of course, the good news is that you have to send us a text, enjoy. You want to come for the training today, say enjoy today. You want to part of the training tomorrow, send enjoy tomorrow. So these following numbers:
0810 659 8797. 0810 659 8797. Again, 0810 659 8797.
we will reserve a seat for you to be in the training today.
All right, so I'm a bit interested in how this innovation works. So you say just go shop once.
Okay, yes.
So I'll come in, do my regular shopping just
once in a year.
And then I earn it for a lifetime.
As other customers are shopping after you, that means there's a percentage of each product, toothpaste, soaps, beverages that we have in our store that's also come to you as a customer who shop first.
Just one time?
Just one time. That is why the train is important. This store is already here in Port Harcourt for 4 years, paying out every day for 4 years, daily alert. Of course, people don't know about it. That is why the training is more important. It's just like withdrawing money from the ATM machine. People they might believe that you can withdraw money from ATM card. I know a woman that told me that is not possible, so she refused to collect the ATM card. If when mobile app came on board, people never believe that you can transfer money from your mobile phone to somebody's account. This is technology. This is advancement technology. The same technology is what Daily Income Stores has. That once you shop once, you drop your account details. Of course, as other customers are shopping after you, you're going to get daily alert. We are not new. We're already 4 years in Port Harcourt, 6 years in Nigeria, and 12 years old in over 100 countries. That is why the training is occurring today.
So this is real.
It's real. That's why we say come for the training today. By 11 o'clock, you will see us. And of course, by 4 p.m., it's just 1 hour training. And the time again is 11 o'clock today and by 4 p.m. in the evening. The number to send us a text, enjoy.
0810 659 8797. 0810 659 8797. Again, 0810 659 8797.
The training fee is just a token of 2,000 naira, but today we are going to give you a discount, 50% discount, so your training fee will be 1,000 naira. Today, your 1,000 naira, you are qualified to be the training today by 11 o'clock. And
Does that cover for tomorrow because you have training today and tomorrow?
No, the training is not for you to come 2 days. It's just one section. You can come by 11, it's okay for you. You are too busy in the office already, you're going to somewhere. You can come by 4 p.m. in the evening. It's just, you won't be part of it tomorrow, it's just one section. So we are making it a 2-day power pack event so that end of these 2 days, you are coming today, you only pay a token of 1,000 naira for the training instead of 2,000 naira.
Fantastic. So I have two people here with us in the studio, and let me just quickly know their name. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What's your name?
My name is Victor Billy.
Okay, good to meet you. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
And you are?
My name is Harry Frank.
Okay, Victor, let me start with you. Are you part of this here? Have you gone to this store? Have you purchased anything there? And are you earning anything? Honestly, tell us the truth now.
Thank you. I heard about the Daily Income Stores on radio. I just tuned to the radio. I heard that the program is going on. Daily Income Stores, you can shop once, you drop your account details, you get paid as other customers shops after you. I was so curious. I was wondering how possible is it that you shop, you drop your account details, you get paid as other customers shops after you. I went to the program, I paid the training fee. On getting there, I actually saw that these things are toothpaste, beverages, soaps that we normally use every day. So I decided to shop. I said, let me see if this is possible.
Real.
I dropped my account details. To the greatest surprise, few days later, I started getting alerts. Even as I'm talking to you, I said yesterday I got alert, and the good news is that now what I'm getting from these Daily Income Stores is far more than my monthly salary.
I'm watching. I'm right here. I'm watching.
That's why I want to tell you, you cannot sit at home to know how real it is.
Unless you come
So
to the
why
training.
not take this opportunity, come and see what I saw. And today, I'm thanking God that I shopped.
All right, let's hear your story.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Harry Frank, like I said. Okay, I actually heard about Daily Income Store, not through radio. It was a friend who told me about the information. He's a very busy guy. He had it on radio and he didn't have enough chance. So that's what I want to say today. If you're busy, you can use the information to bless somebody's life. But I never believed him as a guy. I'm a businessman by nature. So I know how money is made. I never believed that money can just be made by purchasing something. So, but after arguing and delay for more than 8 months, I gave a try one day and I walked in there. I was curious. I wanted to know, are their products certified? Are they approved by Nigerian NAFDAC and all the certified organizations? And when I walked in, that was my first aspect. I looked at it and they were certified. So I was okay. I was okay. I just made a purchase. I dropped my account number. I picked my package home. A few days later, I was impressed. I got an alert on my phone and I never believed. You know, the good thing is that nobody pays you. The transaction is done through bank. So when you shop, you have to drop your account number. In case you don't have one, you can drop my own account. So a few days later, I got an alert. I was curious. I took my ATM to the ATM machine. I said,
whether the money that is real.
I actually slot in. The money came out. And I counted to be sure. So sincerely, I started receiving an alert. And this has actually turned my life around. And so that has been my experience.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around this because this seems like a win-win situation.
Okay.
You said you found out that the products that you bought are certified.
Yeah.
So that means you actually did use the product and you benefited from the products.
Wonderful product. Just like
we have toothpaste, soap,
So
radio.
you
A
benefit
lot of
from the
things. Yes,
product.
now.
You enjoyed your money that you
Yeah.
spent, and then you still get paid.
And the thing that it's not a must to shop with us actually. You can go to other stores and shop. They can never ask you to drop their account details.
No.
Of course, they cannot pay you because it's not their system, and they cannot do that just because it's not their system. We are the only one doing this for the past 12 years old in over 100 countries, 6 years in Nigeria, and 4 years in Port Harcourt. That's why the training today is very important. By 11 o'clock in the morning, today, 1 hour training, no African time, 11 or by 4. Choose anyone convenient for you, just to be there at the program. And what I want to do for those people who are there, sitting at home, doubting at this opportunity, please, I will give the first 10 people free products who are still doubting. You can try and be one of the first 10 people.
Wow,
I will
that's
have something for you for free, whether you're shopping or not. Just text the word enjoy. Please, we are having so many calls on our phones. Please, I can see the phone ringing. Please, just send us the word enjoy so that we can reserve a seat. Enjoy.
0810 659 8797. Again, 0810 659 8797.
I will reserve a seat for you
All right.
to be at the training today.
Let me just know now who can be part of this training? Who is it open for?
Everybody is eligible actually. You're a doctor, you're engineer, you're commissioner, you're reverend, educated, you're not educated. Every class, as far as you have been spending money buying something from other stores, you know what is money. Of course, you can also be part of the training.
One thing though, yeah, when I hear something that sounds so good,
Real.
like this, too good to be real, I ask, what is the risk?
Good enough. Anyway, the risk behind daily customers is that there will come a time that nobody going to brush them out. If that is possible, that means the store can no longer pay us. There comes a time that nobody going to take the bait again. There comes a time nobody going to eat again. That is the only risk involved, that nobody going to do shopping, and because that's why the store cannot pay us. Because they're not making money, so they will pay us. But they know a time that people are not shopping. People shop every day. We brush our mouth every day. We take our bait every day. We eat every day. You drink water every day. Human daily needs and wants can never be satisfied. So as long as people keep shopping, the stores will keep paying us. Because the stores actually says shop once in a year, drop your account details. As other customers are shopping after you, you'll be getting daily alert. And of course, we have so many cases of people have shopped once and right now they've resigned. So the store is real.
And it's open for everybody. As long as you know how to spend money buying your daily needs and wants. This is open for you.
Yes.
You don't want to miss this meeting that will
Definitely.
be going
You
on
cannot
today.
miss it.
And I think the biggest risk is you staying at home.
The numbers
0810 659 8797. 0810 659 8797. Again, 0810 659 8797.
The time is 11 a.m. this morning, no African time. Please, the first 10 people that will be in the program today, I'm going to give them free product, and tomorrow, anything I want to come for it. But try and be on the first 10 people. But today, this morning, I'm going to double the product for you. Is it good or very good?
Yeah, 10 people. I hope I know that I'm inside the 10.
The most important thing why the training is being organized that we want to create an awareness. A lot of people became poor in life because poor is spelled P-O-O-R. P means passing, O means over, O means opportunities, R means repeatedly. When a man keep passing over opportunities repeatedly, there should be a poor man. Opportunity everywhere. It's around you. There's abundance in Nigeria. You are the architect of success. So Daily Stores has come to do this innovation, come to do this awareness training, come to do this particular training for you. Of course, you can always shop once, drop your account details, and get paid every day as other customers shop after it. You just send us a text, enjoy.
0810 659 8797. Again, 0810 659 8797.
And the training fee is 2,000 naira. But when promo today is 1,000 naira that you pay today, and the time again is 11 and 4 p.m. Just anyone come. My final word is that seeing is believing. You cannot stay home and know how real it is. Come today. Thank you. We love you. We want to see you there.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. News happens on its terms, so we give it to you on yours, the way you want it, anytime you need it. On the air, on Today 95.1 FM.
Dr. Wisdom Herbal Treatment Center. Are you suffering from a long-time internal and external ailment? God is using Dr. Wisdom Obunda to treat all manner of sicknesses. I repeat, all manner of sicknesses for many years. For more information, call 0803 706 6026 or 0703 093 4720. Again, 0803 706 6026 or 0703 093 4720. Address number 34 Iliozu Town.
Exactly 24 minutes after 9. You're still listening to Today 95.1 FM. It's time for the opinion poll segment. And for opinion poll this morning, we're looking at one of the stories we read from the papers. It was 5 reasons Nigeria will remain poverty capital until 2023, where the writer Dele Shobowale was going by the part of the president's speech on June 12, 2019, where he says, with leadership and a sense of purpose, we can lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. And he went on to give the 5 reasons as to why we will remain poverty capital until 2023 as regards that particular segment, or shall I say part of the president's speech on lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. He said, first, Buhari said, with leadership, not with my leadership. It appears like quibbling with semantics. It might appear like quibbling with semantics, but other leaders embarking their nation on a new and prosperous direction have always emphasized their contribution to the achievements envisaged. So, and he also went on to say, second, at close at 78 and only 4 years to go, all being well, Buhari is speculating on an objective well beyond his tenure. Even if he regards himself as the leader with a sense of purpose, he will not be around for 60% of the 10 years to pilot the ship of the Nigerian state. So we'll take this piecemeal by piecemeal as we try to go through the 5 points put out there by Dele Shobowale. He insisted that the president should have said, with my leadership, and yet he quickly is in the second part refers to the fact that the president won't be around for most of the period. For me, I find that a bit contradictory. He acknowledges that the president won't be there for most of the 10 years that he's speculating, and yet was insisting he should have said with his leadership. Then that was more encompassing, as in more purposeful to his duties as what he will be doing as the leader of Nigeria in actualizing that point, pulling out 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. So, Emmanuel, let's look at that, as you said, in just that area alone. What do you see with his analysis here? Insist, I know earlier on you did say you think it's semantics, though. 10 years with leadership and not referring to his leadership, because, of course, out of that 10 years, it's 4 years of his. He's going to contribute almost half of the shall I say, the efforts that will be needed to see Nigerians pulled out, 100 million Nigerians pulled out of poverty, because 4 out of 10 is almost half of the years that he has planned this to happen. And yet he did it say with his leadership. Yet the writer is also quick to note that the president is going to spend, well, about not up to 60% of that time in office. And so how much possible is it that 10 years will be actualized?
Well, I don't think Nigeria is created for Buhari, especially Buhari's leadership alone. No. And so if a president who was very explicit in saying, in 10 years, he didn't say within my administration, in 10 years, and I have not seen anybody, no matter how desirous of cititism in office the person had been as a president of this country, that has stayed up to 10 years in power. And that shows that traditionally, we always go for 8 years. And so, assuming you are talking about that one, if he had made this statement in his first coming, let's say he will take 8 years, only remaining 2. So he still did not run the whole gamut of that particular time lag he mentioned. So for me, even if he should start, that is why I always say seeing is believing. As he has made that promise, and he stated, I want to come to the semantic angle later on. He stated with 10 years. Within these 10 years, if Buhari, for instance, the remaining 4 he has now, because that's when he made the statement, and we are judging him from this particular one. If he should handle the little he can within 4 years, he leaves it, another president comes and continues with that particular mission. If it is worthy of continuation, that's one thing again we have to emphasize. He continued, then that was there, for instance, 8 years, then it would have remained, it would have gone. And then we see how far the 2 administrations would have gone with this particular pledge. But in terms of the issue of saying with leadership, and somebody somewhere wants him to say my leadership, in the first place, the president is very wise. He is being semantically adept in using with leadership, because it is not within the time frame of this administration that the whole thing can be achieved. He made it very plain. 10 years. He has only 4 years to go. If he had started with that one, it would have been 2 remaining. Still, you cannot put everything, but expected him to have done a substantial part of it. So it is a matter of semantic juggling. And I think the president is very correct, because when he says with leadership, who is at the helm of affairs of Nigeria today? Himself. You don't expect him to have said specifically with my leadership. No, it is not his leadership that the time lag will expire for the achievement of that particular promise. So the president is right in saying with leadership. But if it is Shobowale sees it differently, that's his own understanding of that particular statement. But for me, all these things are just certain things that could be made as promises. Will they ever be realized? We are going to see the actions of government in the coming months to see whether we will realize a little bit of it.
All right, then. What did you mean? Looking at the fact that these 2 things I said, he mentioned, Dele Shobowale said that the president did not say with my leadership. He said with good leadership. He should have said mine, showing that he has a considerable effort to put into play to actualize that within 10 years. And that he also said, well, in 10 years, the president is only even going to be there for 4 years. How can we really actualize that project that has spanned way past the president's 4 years tenure?
Well, looking at the position of Mr. President and the semantics, I think one would have said that, where I cast a lot of doubt is that one would have said that he would have taken possession in terms of my leadership. Now, you look at the template on ground, because when you look at Lagos State today, I want to cite example. When Fashola left, we saw the rate of development. Now, if you say in the next 5 years, Lagos will look like Dubai, I tell you because of what is on ground. Now, just as the writer said, he was just saying with 10 years. Now, we begin to look at what is on ground. Now, can we achieve it within 10 years? I think all these things are conjectures, hypotheses. We cannot achieve it. Judging from what is on ground. Look at, with due respect to the minister, the past minister of transportation, Right Honorable Chibika Meto. We saw the rot in that system. A lot of money was polygrated into that ministry. And he came on live televisions and media platforms to say that so time, the rail will start, and that Nigeria will see. We saw him in China make boast of that. What have we realized?
Now, first of all, hold on. I know where you're going to, but what I'm particular about is that we look at this with the particular angle the writer said. When he said with my leadership, and not saying with, when he said with good leadership and not saying with my leadership, I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Now, and the fact that the writer also said he's looking at 10 years. Meanwhile, the president will always spend 4 years out of that 10.
Well, where there is a good leadership within 4 years, it can be realized. I think where the writer is looking at is, why not my leadership and what are on ground? Looking at 4 years, within 4 years, just opposing it with what is on ground. Can we really say within 10 years? So I don't think it can be realized. It can also be realized, but I think the whole essence is looking at what is on ground. What are the provisions? What are the things that are on ground? So I think that so far the writer is right. Why he is right is that, one, within 4 years, counting, we're already, 1 year is already at efflution. We should be counting 3 years. Can we really realize or lifting 100 million persons into the seat of wealth? I think it's a hypothesis. I don't think it will be realized, judging from the template we have on ground. Secondly, where it would have been realized is where Mr. President could have come to say that within 10 years, I will be able to achieve at least 1 million or 50 million persons will be lifted. And these are the things that are on ground. And is Nigeria industrialized within his own tenure and with what is on ground? Can we really boastfully say that there are templates which people can cash in within 4 years? So I think that there are lapses. And I think from a reasonable ground, it's just the writer is jurisprudential. But when you look at the significance of that write-up, you will see that the truth behind it is that, one, he has looked at the template. And the time of efflution, 4 years, can we really achieve it? And do we really, looking at the sectors, judging from this tenure, judging from what is within the nooks and crannies of this tenure, what are the things, what are the provisions made? So you can see that there is a vacuum, there is a vacuum. And secondly, the president is speculating. There is no sincerity in terms of taking, responsibility as to, let me be the person to start this. So I think that in the absence of that, there is a question mark as to whether or not if this can be realized. And that is why the writer is saying within 4 years, can this really be achieved? Because after 4 years, his tenure will be at efflusion.
Wouldn't that be the reason why he said with good leadership? Simple. That he already realizes that out of the 10 years I'm talking about, I will only be here for 4. So with good leadership, because I believe that the president himself believes he's a good leader. Yeah. I don't think that he's speaking at that time imagines that what he has in place is bad leadership. I think he believes that what he has in place is good leadership, and taking into cognizance that for 10 years I'm talking about, I'll only be here for 4. So whatever my plans are, which I believe is good, after 4 years, if we don't have good leadership that can continue with that for the next 6 years, we might not be able to achieve what I have proposed.
Yeah, that is where we come in again. Like I said, on two sides. It's on two sides of the coin. Now, Nigerians will believe in what we see. Now, with what we are seeing now, it's not like it's worse than for anybody to come out, for any leader to come out to say, look, within 10 years, the question that should come on board is that, have we really, what are the provisions on ground? Good leadership, yes, good to say good leadership. Policy directions, have they been implemented? Now you can look at what the writer is saying. Future, yes. What about if let's say good leadership after 4 years, and the person that is coming is not coming with the idea of good leadership? So the question is whether or not, can we really achieve, or can the person still consolidate on the good leadership of 4 years? So I think it's just being futuristic. But I don't think it's not predicated on the fact that we can lift 100 million persons into wealth. I think
out of poverty.
It's out of place.
Okay, all right. Opitima.
Yes, Anne, in fact, I think the president is being evasive. And that is what we call in psychology avoidance approach. He doesn't want to bring himself, position himself as the leader, first and foremost, that will drive this. One, you are a policy document when you are running for this election. Did it capture these things you are coming right at the middle of the road to begin to tell Nigerians? Because your policy document would have provided the blueprint, the framework like this. It's like what article told us that between now 2019 and 2025, that the GDP will be grown to $900 billion. And some financial experts that I had, like Rewan Bismarck, I had over the radio during that time, television. He said, yeah, it's doable. That is doable for any leader that want to. Because there are things articles say how to achieve this. Some states that are in exclusive list will be offloaded from there and taken to the states and to the local government. And some national assets will be sold and the money injected into the economy to grow the economy. So for somebody to come to say that within the next 10 years, 100 million people will be lifted out of poverty. And you have not told us how it will be. You have also not told us within the next 4 years, if you are still the president of the country, that you will lift so number of people out of poverty. And who told you? There's this problem of self-righteousness in our leaders. You know, when you talk of good leadership, who told you that you're a good leader? Who told you that you're a good economic manager? You must show us and convince us that a good economic manager that can do some certain things that other people will take up from and run with it. Then within the next 10 years you're proposing, this thing can be achieved. He should not even go to a place that he may not even see. Let him tell us within the next 4 years, are you going to leave 40 million people out of poverty? And how will you go about it? I want to say that this thing is just a kind of wishful thinking, because the structure for him to do that is not in place presently in this country. The structure is not in place. There is insecurity that pervading the land. Agriculture is suffering because of herdsmen problems, banditry in the northwest, kidnapping. In fact, almost all the forests in this nation today are being occupied by killer herdsmen. Then you address the agri sector as a place to lift people out of poverty, to create employment, to give people a kind of empowerment, to grow the needed food either for export and for consumption within, and create jobs in the process. You have not addressed that issue. Now, the issue of infrastructure, not infrastructure deficit, deficit in terms of industry, building industries in this country, manufacturing companies. You have not addressed that. Because without manufacturing, which is key to economic development, there is nothing anybody can do that will generate employment of the kind of this thing is now making us to know. You see, all the propaganda and gimmicks, we should do away with them. That's why I say that most of our leaders are not philosophers. They don't think. If they are thinkers, somebody will sit down and look, this is how I want to run this my administration this period, because I'm frustrated. I've squandered the 4 years they've given to me. Now, in the next 4 years, let me concentrate in the next 4 years. Don't go beyond 4 years. What will you do in agriculture to lift people? What will you do in the manufacturing industry? What will you do in the maritime sector? This on sectorial basis, tell us what we do. And the kind of employment, number of people that can be employed within this period, the number of people that can be empowered. Now, when you tell us, and we now begin to see your step-by-step implementation of those things you have enunciated, you have put down, now we begin to agree with you. But as it is now, I am one of those that will say that the president is using the kind of Machiavellian principle of deceiving the masses in order to do what? To sustain his position in power. So when people are deceived and they hope against hope and nothing comes out of it, and they continue to do whatever they are doing in terms of leadership. So what is happening? Yeah, this thing is doable. Ezekwesili said that if she's made the president of this country, that she will leave 80 million people, 80 million out of poverty within 4 years. And she has her policy document with her. So we are not.
Did she make that public? Did she go ahead and dissect how she was going to do that?
Whether she made it public? Well, in her debate, we had it, and her interviews with the press, we also had it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I did not actually access her policy document.
Okay, good.
Except that of
so it was in a policy document, perhaps.
Yes.
So my point here then will be, why would we want the president during his speech on June 12th to have gone ahead and break down the details of how he intends to do that?
Annie, you see, I don't know whether I have followed the president that come in America, what they do, what they say, even before the election. They come out something with like a book, and this thing is sold both at the airport and all those things. You will see it, you buy, and they will drive here. And that is why Trump today is saying that he will build the wall, because it was stated. I have the book, America. I think America to be great again. I have the book. It's with me. This one, after I did it, I said, if the people voted this man because of this. And I also did a seminar paper on Trump administration, American foreign policy, a prognosis of Nigeria, on Nigeria. So, and Trump is doing what he told the Americans that he would do. And he said, look, Congress, if you approve it or not, I will take my executive order to do, because I've told America it's on the basis of this I was elected. So that is what we should be seeing our this thing. And the only person in this last election I saw that kind of thing is Atiku, his policy document. Very comprehensive and step by step how to actualize and achieve all those things. So that is what a serious leader, someone who is competing to be the national president of a country, should do. And this should be made open in public domain for people to see.
All right,
the thing is that I see this still within the realm of somebody, still dreaming of what he wants to do for the country, but without any vision.
I got your thoughts there, Obijima. Thank you very much. Chief Lofty, okay, let's have your thoughts now.
Thank you very much. You see, in this kind of situation, we should try to differentiate politicking from governance. When it comes to governance, it is all encompassing. But when we are politicking, there are several things that we will say that do not come to reality, and that there are several things that we will also say that will say it to enable us get into power. PNB coming to tell us that 100 million persons will be lifted out of poverty in 10 years. My friend Obidima here said that it is possible even in 4 years. Why is he seeing it as something that is impossible in 10 years? Is it because it is a word coming from President Muhammad Buhari that he does not like, or that he's speaking from the point of bias? But be that as it may, it is his opinion, and so as whatever I'm going to say, that is my own opinion. But the issue is this. When we look at, from the writer, talking about why Nigeria will remain poor in the next 4 years, I see it as a writer that is coming from the biased point of view. As a writer that does not see anything good from President Muhammad Buhari. Otherwise, he would have been positive in the point of trying to consolidate on, even if President Muhammad Buhari have just said it, he should have profiled more solution that would have aided Nigeria to achieve such a thing, even when Buhari is no longer in office. Because out of 10 years, Buhari is going to take 4 years. We don't know who is going to take the remaining 6 years. That is to say that we all are supposed to be positive-minded to enable us make sure that even more than 100 million persons are out of poverty. Come to that, it is our GDP that determines how, that consider how the indices that the standard of living of the people, our GDP. And what is our foreign reserve? If we're looking at it from that political point of view, which I try to avoid in most cases when I'm on air, we'll see that when President Goodluck Jonathan was in office, the foreign reserve that in this country was about 40 something to $50 billion. Before President Goodluck Jonathan left office, we were having less than $24 billion as our foreign reserve.
$32 billion. Correct yourself. $32 billion.
$24 billion. No. That is what we had. It is there on record. So, President Muhammad Buhari came into office, and when he was coming into office during his electioneering campaign, he don't allow with him, but he's always interjecting. He's part of it's in his blood.
You should go on. You're wasting your time.
It's in your blood. I don't know why he's leaving you to be doing that. So, the man told us that I am coming with 3 cardinal points if I am elected as a president of Nigeria. To fight corruption, to make sure that our economy is in order, and also to fight insecurity. Corruption, economy, so these were the 3 things that the president said. He came in, we saw the man that had the will to fight corruption. We saw the man that had the will to fight irrespective of your political party, even members of APC. The former Senate President Saraki was a member of APC. The former SSG Secretary to the Federation was a member of APC. They were all prosecuted during Buhari administration, irrespective of political party, which we have never seen in any in this country. We saw a man that had the will to fight corruption. No matter how anybody will look at it, the will was there. He may have his own flaws. That was one. He came into office shortly as he entered into office. Nigeria went into a recession. He didn't hide to make it public that now we are in recession. And gradually, with the effort of the economic team, the fourth, within the shortest period in history, Nigeria came out of recession. And you tell me that we should not applaud such a man. We also saw how Boko Haram was almost infiltrating even Abuja, the capital territory. When President Muhammad Buhari came into office, the infiltration into Abuja and some other subordinates of Abuja was stopped. Yes, I can agree that within this period, insecurity has grown high again. It has grown high again, which I'm happy that he has just made a statement that banditry, kidnapping,
for
and
the
the insurgency.
umpteenth time.
Yeah, he had just said it.
That's why I said for the umpteenth time.
Yes.
He said it several times
Yes.
before.
No, I agree with you. If, I may say, if you say that, okay, he may have achieved certain percentage in fighting corruption, building the economy, and perhaps may have failed in security, I will agree with you because we all are seeing what is happening. I'm very objective in my analysis. Okay. So, now, the man have said, in 10 years' time, and how are we going to achieve this? He is going to do his bit within these 4 years. And in the next 6 years, if we all, as a people, begin to abandon our political parties after electionary campaign and look at governance when we want to come into office and begin to build in from wherever our predecessor may have stopped. Target tourism, target manufacturing, commerce and industry, science and technology, agriculture, and build our resources within this, you will see that Nigeria will begin to be a very rich country. Instead of me coming into office, and because somebody I did not like was in power, I succeeded him, either a member of my party or opposition, I begin to destroy what he built. For instance, whether Governor Okorocha did well or not in Imo State, he was able to use the taxpayers' money to build tourist attraction centers. which he named Akachi or whatever.
You are not spokesman.
Which he named Akachi. I know that too. Let me tell you, even if that thing is seen in negative form, some persons from Europe in America can decide to come and say, let me come to Imo State and see that Akachi, and Imo State people can generate revenue from it. The man decided to go and pull it down overnight. And other things. And I'm sure there are some other things that he may decide to destroy just because he doesn't want Okorocha's legacy to be. Similar things are also happening in some other states.
Okay.
Anyway,
no, we need to wrap up. We're moving forward.
Okay, well, go ahead. Let me leave it.
Thank you very much. So we did look at out of the 5 pointers the writer did mention, reasons why we remained a poverty capital was that the president did not say his leadership. He went on to say with good leadership, and that he's close to 78 years and only 4 years to go, meaning that he might not be around for 60% of the 10 years that is available for this project.
So what? I don't understand that thing you say.
Well, third, he says it's safe to assume that the 10 years have not commenced now in 2019, with the gross domestic product GDP in the first quarter of 2019 growing at a miserable under 2% and less than the fourth quarter of 2018. Nigeria has added more people to those living in poverty instead of lifting them out. From all appearances, 2019 is certainly not in the first year of the 10, as you know, spoken about by the president. And fourth, he says Nigeria under APC is again repeating all the mistakes which make it unlikely that we'll ever achieve the remarkable economic transformation which enabled China, India, and Indonesia, the 3 countries mentioned in the June 12 address, to escape mass poverty. The Nigerian president was declared winner in February this year. India's prime minister was re-elected more than 2 months after that, and the Indian prime minister has announced his cabinet 72 hours after the results of the election. Nigeria still has no ministers. The difference is clear between a purposeful prime minister and leader and his Nigerian counterpart. By the time you read this article, June will almost be over. The first half of 2019 will soon be gone. Purposeful leaders recognize time as an economic resource almost at par with capital, labor, and infrastructure. They never waste time or encourage the subordinates to do the same. Ministers appointed after June will spend the rest of the year coming to grips with their scope of responsibilities. Nothing much can be expected of them. Ministers who attempt to hit the ground running, to use the hackneyed expression of journalists, invariably lead their ministries into blind alleys. For example, was the former Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, who made grand promises about the Lagos-Ibadan and Lagos-Calabar rail lines in 2016. The first should have been in operation now, according to him. Not only is there no rail computer service between Lagos and Ibadan, international experts are now telling us that Nigerian rail line costs have been grossly parted. Time lost and money lost. And very quickly here, let me just repeat this. It's almost the same thing too, because I remember in 2019 was a time pegged by the state minister for petroleum then about us having our refineries and stop importing of fuel.
Refined fuel.
The Nigerian president made no personal commitment to achieve the objectives stated. It is more of an academic exercise. By contrast, when President John Kennedy of America, after the Russians sent an astronaut into space, announced that by the end of the decade, America will send the man to the moon. Okay, very quickly here. I don't know why, we need to juxtapose what he said for June 12th with what the John Kennedy said. John Kennedy particularly was making a speech about that trip by the Russians to the moon. And that was what the issue was about. And that was what he gave the speech. And in that speech, of course, he must have dedicated what essence they were going to put in place, what technicalities they were going to face, and how they were going to achieve it, and had come to the 10 years. And therefore, when he was now relating to the people of America at that time, was very, concise about what he was going to do in the next 10 years. But for me, the June 12th itself, Democracy Day speech, as it turned out to be, was not really about whether he was addressing poverty headlong. It was pretty much about the general state of Nigeria and the fact that he was president, because it was inauguration speech and Democracy Day speech as far as we're concerned. And he didn't particularly target one angle for him to address, and maybe would have expected him to be more assertive about, the provisions of what he was proposing when you compare that to what John Kennedy did that year in United States. But that's just my thoughts there. Let's get back to the fact that he says, look, the president doesn't understand that time is almost as important as capital and infrastructure, and he's taking forever. Indian Prime Minister under 72 hours had named his ministers, and the ministers, of course, as we also have come to understand them here in Nigeria, come on board and take forever to understand what they're supposed to do. So many, if they intend to hit the ground running, make promises or give timelines for things they're unable to achieve when they finally understand what their office entails.
You see, Annie, sometimes it's good when we pick up our pain and we want to educate the entire nation, or perhaps the world at large, because anybody can read this. We should try to keep a rein on our bias. You see, why am I saying this?
Why?
Good. Time is of essence. There's no doubt about that. However, when you start lumping in some examples like that of Kennedy and all the rest of them, it makes nonsense of the whole thing you are saying that is of essence. Take, for instance, the Kennedy angle was a peer review issue. Russia, America, we know how good they have been at their relationship, fighting for supremacy over the world. And then Russia went. America said, we must beat these people. In fact, as they went, as our own went, we are going to bring him back. Like that. So you expect a simple policy of that. Between now and this, we are going to do this thing. And he set the ball rolling. Kennedy never finished it. That's why I said Buhari is even right in saying with good leadership. Because this is going to be shared, perhaps with different administrations. Now, let's come to this appointment of ministers and delay of it. I must tell you, it is a pain. That I have told people that when they are saying, where's the National Assembly? I said, what are you talking about? What if the whole thing is ready? And National Assembly, are they not there now? If the whole thing had been ready and as soon as they were sworn in, they started, he now pushed in that. Won't we have ministers today? That's his style. I can never applaud that because that delay, I said, delay can never bring in anything successful.
Remember the senators came in one day, the next day they were adjourning because they didn't have furniture.
Yes, perhaps they would have said, yes, because of lack of furniture, we would have treated this. And it will be on record that the president has done his own job. That's my angle.
Okay.
Now, that one is very correct, following what Shobowale has written. For me, the delay, look at Modi. What he has done is, won't everybody be exhilarated to hear that, yes, as the president, as the prime minister took office, he appointed out this. That is exact. For me, I don't know what is difficult there for them. Because as he won in, was it in March, eventually the February or when? Now you put up your... Are you telling me you don't know those you can work with? When, because it is probability.
The idea will be even when you were contesting, you knew that you were going to emerge, but you were thinking of who you would work with.
Yes. So as soon as you finish, so eventually I am the winner. That means in a few months I'm expected to start running this nation. You reel out that particular, just keep it there. As soon as National Assembly starts, you send it in.
Do you agree with the writer, though, quickly? Let me just take your thoughts on this before the news. That time is just as important as infrastructure.
I tell you, yes,
capital.
I agree very well all around with him on that. But again, when you talk about singling out Amechi and perhaps other ministers, you don't blame them. You know, always I have always said that a minister is as effective as his principal makes him to be.
All right, then. We'll pause there. When we come back, I'll get the thoughts of Wodi Chimenem, Obedima, and Chief Lovely Okere. We have the news update coming up next.
News happens on its terms, so we give it to you on yours, the way you want it, anytime you need it. On the air, on Today 95.1 FM. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Radio has never been this good.
Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Hello and good morning. Here's the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Annie Abdul Salam. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana says the federal government must be compelled to implement some of the recommendations of the Nigerian Electoral Reform Committees before implementing those of foreign election observers. The senior advocate of Nigeria in a statement criticized the attention of the federal government that it's paying to the reports on the 2019 general election submitted by the European Union election observers. Falana said he was not happy the report of the EU is being celebrated by all stakeholders, including the media, while the report of the local monitors have been ignored by the federal government and stakeholders who are advising the federal government to adopt the EU report in its entirety. He, however, insisted that before the report of the EU on how to conduct credible elections is adopted, the federal government should be compelled to implement recommendations of the Justice Mohammed Owais panel, Ahmed Lemu panel, and Ken Namani panel on electoral reforms. Falana said the recommendations and the reports of the local election monitors are much more relevant than the reports of the foreign observers. Youths of Bakana community in Dekema local government area, River State, have discovered 2 decomposing corpses buried in shallow graves close to a river. This has sparked anxiety amongst residents of Bakana, who recently experienced an attack by armed youths who invaded the area, killing 3 persons. A resident of the community told newsmen that the bodies were discovered after the unknown gunmen entered the community last week, Tuesday. Meanwhile, the River State Police Command has commended the initiative of the Today 95.1 FM's Anti-Cultism Summit billed for July 6, 2019. Police Public Relations Officer DSP Namdi Omoni described the summit as timely, following the persistent cases of cult clashes bedeviling River State. DSP Omoni said the command is interested in the summit because of the aims it intends to achieve.
The summit is coming. Could have come at a better time. The time is right, and then I think more we need at this stage is enough aggressive sensitization, aggressive awareness campaign, so that we'll be able to reconscientize this, to reshape their thought pattern, and to see how they can embrace peace and drop their criminal activities. So this summit is timely and it's a welcome development, especially in this time that the state is bedeviled with court-related activities and killings. So we are in support of this summit. We identify with you and we'll be there to make our input, and we encourage every peace-loving person from the state to join hands to ensure that this project succeeds.
The Today FM Anti-Cultism Summit is the first in a series of other agenda-setting summits initiated by your premium talk, news and sports radio, Today 95.1 FM, to chart a way forward for a better River State. The summit will hold next month, July 6th, with Bobo Sofri Brown, Professor Andrea Femini, Dr. Austin Sado, and Ken Henshaw, among others, as guest speakers. And to the foreign, Sudanese court has ordered authorities to end the nationwide internet blockade imposed by the ruling generals after a deadly crackdown on protesters earlier this month. Protesters were violently dispersed on June 3rd by men in military fatigues who stormed a week-long protest camp outside the army headquarters in Khartoum, where they had camped to demand that the generals step down. Internet on mobile phones and fixed line connections were cut across Sudan by the ruling military council, with users saying it was done to prevent further mobilization of protesters. A lawyer, Abdelazim Al-Hassan, had filed a petition against the blockade. And with that, we wrap up on the news update here on Today 95.1 FM. Thank you for listening. Have a good morning.
News happens on its terms, so we give it to you on yours, the way you want it, anytime you need it. On the air, on Today 95.1 FM. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Hello. Are you job ready in this digital dispensation? Are you equipped with the right tools to navigate through the evolving times? And IIT presents Digital Skills for Industry 4.0. You will be equipped with data analytics, machine learning with R and Python, Internet of Things IoT, artificial intelligence, big data, business intelligence, DevOps blockchain, Digging Next MMS, and digital marketing. Please note, scholarship is available. Test date is Saturday, 13th July 2019. What are you waiting for? Run to number 1 Cardinal Street, D Line, Port Harcourt, and book your space or call
0817 389 0176 or 0806 962 5113
or visit www.niit.com/Nigeria to apply for the scholarship.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
All right, you're listening to Today 95.1 FM. It's 7 minutes, actually 8 minutes after 10. And I have representatives of Wealth Academy and IML here. I've got Collins and Ikena Kolam. Good morning.
Good morning, Annie.
All right, so Collins, what's new this week?
Good morning, Annie. Good morning to everyone out there, to Port Harcourt, Nigeria. We have come again with good news from IML Wealth Academy. Now, IML International Markets Live is an educational platform that teaches people how to be profitable in the world's largest money market, which is the Forex market. Now, IML is based in New York, the US, but Wealth Academy partners with IML to bring this education to Nigerians. Now, Forex is simply foreign exchange. It is one country's currency trading against another country's currency. Now, whether you know it or not, you are a Forex trader. Now, this comes in two forms. If you have ever traded another country's currency before, if you have ever exchanged the Naira for any country's currency before, or you have exchanged any country's currency for the Naira before, you have traded Forex. Now, if you have a bank account, you are a Forex trader. That is not intentional, because what the banks do is they take the bulk of your money every single day and they trade with it in the world's largest money market. This is a market that does over $5.3 trillion every single day. This is with the exception of cryptocurrency, guys. If you add cryptocurrency, that is about $7 trillion every single day. Now, who trades Forex? It might interest you to know that the American government trades Forex. The Nigerian government trades Forex. The Canadian government, the banks, that is what they do with your money every single day. Now, the Forex market runs 5 days a week, 24 hours a day. Now, you want to learn how to navigate this market. You want to learn how you can be profitable in this market. Now, this is the education that IML Wealth Academy brings to the table. IML educates you on how to be profitable in the world's largest financial market, which is the Forex market. Now, what does IML have to offer? With the cutting-edge products and the cutting-edge systems, you can be profitable in this market. Now, the Forex market is where the wealthy multiply their money. You want to learn how you can multiply your money in this market. Now, don't wish that things were easier. Wish that you were wiser. Because if you were wiser, you would be able to simplify the complications of life. Now, this is the wisdom that IML has put together, and they have put together a system that saves you time, energy, and money. It simplifies the Forex market. IML says to you, hey, can you learn a skill? Can you learn a skill that puts food in your table for the rest of your life? Can you learn a skill that can liberate you for the rest of your life? Now, we have systems that all you need to do is to copy and paste. What does the word system mean? Save yourself time, energy, and money. As simple as that. That is what system means. Now, you want to save yourself time, energy, and money. It's not about hard work, guys. It's about smart work. How smart have you been? Now, what are the products on IML? What are the products and systems in IML? We have the IML TV. We have the IML harmonic scanner. In the IML harmonic scanner, you apply the Hosea strategy. Now, the Hosea strategy is a no-brainer. We say it's a no-brainer because literally you don't need a brain for the Hosea strategy. All you need to do is to watch out for some conditions. Now, you have the M4 M50. Now, the M4 M50 is a no-brainer. It is awesome.
Simply using the M4, M50 last week, I did over 100 pips. And now if you're in the Forex market, you should understand what that means. Now, this is a system that has been changing lives. This system is changing the lives of people all over the world. Now, you want to come and learn how you can multiply money. You want to come and learn. The key word is learn. You want to come and learn. But IML says to you, hey, you're learning this skill. Can we help you earn? Now, the IML TV is simply incredible. It's simply mind-blowing. Which TV do you watch that puts money in your pocket? Now, in the IML TV, we have our live expert educators that educate us, and then while they're educating, they call out trades. And you place those trades 30 minutes, 40 minutes into the education, and you're in profit.
Okay, that's amazing.
It's amazing. It's
30
amazing.
minutes, 40 minutes, you're
in profit.
Is it because of the kind of pips that IML generates, or this is what that is normal with all sort of trades on the Forex market?
It's not normal with all sorts of trades. It's because these people are expert traders. People that have over 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Our CEO, Christopher Terry, he has over 25 years experience in the Forex market. Now, this system is what has made the difference for me.
All right, okay. All right. Okay, Makwan, let's hear your views this
Good morning,
morning.
Annie. I'm so fired up this morning. I'm happy. I'm about to show you my trade this morning. I made $85. You can see
just this morning.
Just this morning. I woke up this morning precisely by 1:35 a.m. You know,
you can't be showing me this kind of video, then you will not share that before seeing it. For seeing it, let's split it.
So you can imagine, you never can tell how much you know how far you can go until you get started.
So wait, I don't understand. You said you woke up to this. So when did you actually place the trade?
I placed the trade on Friday. The market actually closes on Friday.
Okay.
So I was monitoring the trade from Friday. The market closed, and I just placed my stop loss and my take profit, and I left it. So I was feeling very cold. You know, I couldn't trade early morning like I do. I slept off. And while I woke up this morning, I saw $85.
That it continued as you left it on Friday.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
In IML, anybody who do not learn how to make money while sleeping, you know, you will work for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
You know, a man who wakes up as a success hasn't been sleeping. So in IML has very powerful strategies, just like my brother has mentioned, you know, that put foods on the table of people. Life are changing, things are happening. We are inviting you to our mentoring section. You know, our mentoring section is holding tomorrow on Tuesday tomorrow, which is the 25th of June. All you need to do is to SMS the word 070 39 11 8224. Just SMS the word 070. SMS the word wealth to 070 39 11 8224. The venue is Swiss Spirit Hotels and Suites, number 79 Ken Sarowiwa Way, former Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. You know, I like to talk to those who do Forex. You know, those who have heard about Forex before. You know, and somehow those whom have also gotten, you know, bad experiences trading Forex. Before now, we were not using ATM to make transactions. Before now, you cannot sit here and wire money to somebody in Abuja or outside the country. But technology has made those things possible. People are researching every day. IML has technology that is making Forex trading as simple as possible. You know, that's why we are bringing this good news to Port Harcourt. Our target is to raise at least 1,000 Port Harcourt people to make $1 million every month.
$1 million every month.
And it's possible. People are making it. People are making it. That's the target.
Is that possible?
That's very possible.
You say $1 million naira, you mean, or $1 million?
$1 million. People are making it in this market every day.
How possible is that?
With your lot size. With the kind of lot size you place in the market, you can make such amount of money. People are making more than that in the market. And you know, why we talk about dollar here is because we have seen it work for people. We don't talk about naira. All you need to do is when you change the money, you know how much it will appear. So that's why we talk about dollar here. We don't talk about naira because you don't need to, you know, put all your efforts or put everything you do basing on the Nigerian economy, because anything can happen.
All right then. So your mentoring sessions are what is it? What does one expect during the mentoring sessions?
We expect you to come.
No, what are my expectations? If I'm coming to the mentoring sessions, what am I supposed to come engage in?
Just come, like when I joined IML.
Yes.
I've heard about it. Over time, people have told me about it, but somehow my bubbles went off. But I heard about it again the second time, and they told me you could come and learn and then earn. I was interested in that. Most times, the problem people have is that they give their money to people to trade for them. But here they tell you, we will teach you how to trade, and then you will trade for yourself and make the money for yourself. So our mentoring session is a session where you come expectant to learn these trading strategies.
Right.
Just like my brother has mentioned, the teacup, the Osea strategy, the divergence, and some of these other strategies that are proprietary to IML. Just come expectant to learn.
All right then. Okay. So what do they need to do if they want to be part of the mentoring?
Yes, the mentoring session will be holding tomorrow at Swiss Spirit Hotel, 79 Kensarawiwa Way, former Stadium Road, Elika here, Port Harcourt. You have to SMS the word wealth. SMS the word wealth to 0703 911 8224. The word wealth to 0703 911 8224. This is a paid session, meaning you have to pay before you come into the session. But if your SMS is amongst the first 50 that we get, you get a free reservation. So you want to start sending out your SMSs now. SMS the word wealth to 0703 911 8224. Now, if you keep saying what you're seeing, you will keep having what you're saying. Because in life, people don't fail because of the lie that was told them. They fail because of the truth that was told them that they refuse to believe. Now, the truth has come to you on a platter of gold, guys. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. You want to come and learn how to liberate yourself financially for the rest of your life. You want to be at our mentoring session. Now, we have different testimonies coming around from all over. At our session on Saturday, people were blown away. We had results, over $6,000 in a week. That was mind-blowing. It was awesome. People were blown away on Saturday. You want to be at our mentoring session tomorrow. It is holding at Swiss Spirit Hotels, 79 Kensarawiwa Way, former Stadium Road, Elika here, Port Harcourt. SMS the word wealth to the phone number 0703 911 8224. I take that again. The word wealth to 0703 911 8224. If your SMS is amongst the first 50 that we get, you get a free reservation.
All right then. So, what do you say to people who say, this thing is only for people who've got money? It's not for people like us who don't have enough money. This sort of business is not for us.
No, for the forex market, for example, you don't need to have plenty of money to start. You can start. That's why we are putting up the mentoring section to give people, various ways to come on board. You must not have all the money on planet Earth to start. So that's why we are putting up this mentoring section to give people, options on how they can, trade the market. You must not start like me. Like I started with $500. Somebody does not have $500 to start. What does he do? You come to the mentoring session, we'll give you other options on how you can come on board. There are people who started with, as low as, $100. Yes, they are there and they are building it. In a week, they have done double of their account, based on how much they have learned. Here we focus on learning.
Okay, all right.
We focus here on learning.
So you're saying to people that do not be dismayed if you don't have that much money. Just come for the mentoring sessions, and then we'll grow on whatever amounts you're coming on with.
Exactly.
Okay, good. All right. So, for other people again who say that these things can be really technical, you've said something about your plus side or your lot side.
Lot size.
You said things like that. There's some people who just find this as if it's too technical for them. What do you say?
It is not technical at all. IML has simplified this market. In our academy, the IML Academy, it is assumed that you know nothing about Forex. So we start from the basics. What is Forex? That is where we start. Now, this simplifies everything about Forex. You learn everything, and it all depends on you, on how fast you are willing to learn this skill. Now, this is my second month in IML, but it is amazing what I've been able to learn. The strategies there are no-brainers. They are simply amazing. The M4, M50. Can you watch out for a blue line? Can you watch out for a black line? If they touch and cross, would you know? If the black line faces up after it has crossed, you buy. If the black line faces down, you sell. How simplified can the Forex market be? Now, the Hosea strategy we say is a no-brainer also. You just watch out for certain conditions for buy, and you watch out for certain conditions for sell, and you're good to go. And you keep the pips rolling in. It's awesome. It's been really amazing.
You know, I'm also to add to that. You know, I'm an instructor. You know, so I know when something is difficult for people to catch up, and when something is easy, right? But I stand here to say the IML platforms or the strategies that we have are very easy for anybody to learn. Just like you said, it's a no-brainer. You know, we have somebody whom, you know, people may say is an illiterate, somebody who did not go to secondary school, Amos. But Amos is able to trade $300 every day and above. You know, so it's something anybody can learn. Anybody can learn.
All right. Let's share what they need to do again to be part of this. This is open to anybody and everybody.
Yes.
All right then.
All right. To be at our mentoring session tomorrow, the mentoring session is holding at Swiss Spirit Hotel, 79 Kensal Wiwa Way, former Stadium Road, Elika Airport, Harcourt. To be at our mentoring session, you need to SMS the word wealth. SMS the word wealth to the phone number 0703 911 8224. 0703 911 8224. If your SMS is amongst the first 50 that we get, you get a free reservation. SMS the word wealth. You want to do that right now. SMS the word wealth to 0703 911 8224. Now, it might interest you to know that formal education will get you a job, but self-education will make you rich.
All right then. And then last words from you.
You know, without a sense of urgency, desire loses value. You know, nothing just happened. Everything happened just. Why not SMS that word well to the number we have called out? You know, for those who are doubting, are you sure? Is this real? Come and hear us. Come and see for yourself. And then, trust me, you will be happy you came.
All right then. Thank you so much. Wishing you a great weekend.
Yes.
Great weekend.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, stay tuned. And of course, Opinion Poll returns. And we're going back discussing the issue on whether indeed the issue of 100 million Nigerians pulled out of poverty in 10 years, as said by the president, does carry some weight. A writer, of course, who we're looking at says it doesn't project that. And what he says is 5 reasons from that particular post why, or not post now, 5 reasons from that particular write-up by the president why we'll remain in poverty for the next 4 years till 2023. So joining me in just a moment will be our guests and Emmanuel Ndukwe.
News happens on its terms, so we give it to you on yours, the way you want it, anytime you need it. On the air, on Today 95.1 FM. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Exactly 26 minutes after 10, and we're still looking at the issue on the president's speech on June 12th, where a certain writer that wrote a publication for the Vanguard newspaper said that as regards the June 12th Democracy Day speech by the president, he says that he can postulate 5 reasons why we're still going to remain the poverty capital of why Nigeria will remain the poverty capital till 2023. And out of those 5, we've talked about 1 and 2. And then for the next pointers he gave, we're looking at time. He particularly said time. He says the president won elections in February, and this is June, and he's yet to name his ministers. And he says, unlike one of the countries the president did mention, India, the prime minister, after 72 hours, was able to name his ministers, and that time is just as critical as funds and infrastructure. And he says it's one thing that this present administration, headed by Muhammadu Buhari, have really not implemented. As a matter of fact, have not given that relevant recognition to how important time is, especially in setting agendas and achieving their purpose. So let me get your thoughts on that, Wadichimenem. I know that it has been a lot of issues, especially on why the president hasn't named his ministers just yet.
I think it's an error, because looking at what the writer did, he did just oppose it with Modi, the Prime Minister of India. I have repeatedly said it on this forum that where a country should have a president and presidency, in the absence of the president, the presidency should be able to produce. Like in America, they know who is going to be the president. They have the list of presidents. They have people warming up already. You know, they have the capacity and the competency of people that will rule America in the next 28 years. So it goes to show that they are ready. Now, look, citing India as a case study is just not far. India is just, across the ocean. And looking at Moody and the personality of Moody, it means that before this time, the presidency is ready. Now, replicating same here in Nigeria, one will begin to laugh because we are making mockery of democracy. Now, this is an administration that have come up to tell Nigerians that they are coming up to fix, everything in place, that they are coming to, make everything be right. Now the expectation is high. One would have expected that, Mr. President, this is his second tenure, which has time to be corrected. Now, you've already, run your first tenure with your ministers, team of ministers. One would have been right to say that at this time, it's more than 72 hours. You should have known who is going to man a particular ministry. Now, time in everything. Thorndike has said it, one of the psychologists I respect so much. He says time is the enemy of man, and that in all things we must meet up with time. Now, we thought that moving with the agenda or with the mantra, fixing things, one would have thought that at this point, the list of ministers should have been, these ministers would have been appointed. Because if you look at the past administration, the first tenure, of course, we saw the inefficiency, and we saw partly some efficiency. Now, we would have thought that within the cadre of the presidency, persons who are qualified, we won't say that there are no qualified personalities, even in each state, even is incumbent on governors to appoint and make, mention or present such persons who are eligible. But because of politics, and when there is delay, of course, it affects the nooks and crannies of development. And that is why the writer keeps citing India, keeps citing America as a fast-growing economy. This is as a result of countries that are ready to make use of time. So I think that there is no sincerity in policy implementation, and it's affecting all facets of development. And I'm sure Mr. President is aware, on a good authority is aware, that development is being affected. How do we move from here? Because that is what the writer is doing. How do we move from here? I've said it here that let's just leave the messenger and take the message.
Right,
have we gotten it right? We have not gotten it. Look at India. India has they are more populated than Nigeria. Now, the economy of India is growing. Look at the GDP. India some times ago went to other countries to partner them with agricultural economy, and they got it right. And they're still getting it right. They even borrow to some other countries. And I think some years back, during the past administration, Moody was here in Nigeria to partner with us. So look at Malaysia. So these are countries that have been time. It is only in this country you see when once somebody is sworn in, you have to wait for another 1 year again or months for you to appoint your team of ministers. And these are thinkers that will offer solutions to the administration. So I think it's an error because during the first tenure, Mr. President came that he wants to take his time, and he's taking another time again. And remember, these ministers are representatives of each state. And each time you delay, of course, you are delaying in terms of development, is affecting infrastructure development, is affecting the economic well-being of that state. So I think that one would have thought that the solution would have been this second tenure. Haven't not gotten it well in the first tenure, where we saw that the system was in shambles, the whole administrative system was in, bastardized, and he came up with a solution that pleased that he's taking his time. Of course, he came in on board. One would have said, well, let us baptize him with the baptism of delay. Maybe he's just taking his time. But what is going on? What is going on now is a question mark. Look, Mr. President will have to go back to, his syndrome. Let him come back and look at other countries. I've said it that, look, America copied their constitution from the UK. And today they are doing well. Let us borrow leave from Moody. Let us equally borrow leave from other countries so that we can get it well. I have said that, look, Nigeria has gotten up to the extent that we have to lease this country, even if it's for 6 years. I think we will get it well.
All right, then. We got your thoughts on that. Obitim, Anna. It's your son. It will make good sense.
Well, and you see, one very intriguing aspect of that speech is that 2 pages of that presidential speech was just on his CV. And he began to wonder, a serious-minded leader, we are at this stage of our national development, begin to, in an inauguration speech with pages of your speech list with your personal CV, as if that CV was not made known today, probably before now. You see, this tells you the mindset of the kind of leader we produce in this country. 2, is the president, Buhari, was he really prepared for this office in the first place? I would say no. It's not an issue of you are criticizing someone. Someone who has aspired to clean this position for nearly 19 years. You are contesting election. It does mean that what is even happening now shows clearly that you are not abreast of the political, the economic, and the social terrain of this nation. As to have had a vision of what you want this nation to be, codify it in a document that this is your vision, and it just a kind of tell us that you don't want to be president, a president with a vision. Now, each time he sees he won the election in 2015, he comes out on board. There is this kind of slow action towards governance. The president came the first time in 2015. It took him about 6 months before he formed his government. And the thing pushed this nation into recession. And people will not know what really pushed this country into recession. In the time of waiting, both the manufacturing sector, both foreign investors were waiting to know the policy direction of the administration. And within that period, more than $80-something billion were taken away from the capital market. And that thing hit Nigeria into recession. And that this thing has started
Was
again.
that the reason why we entered the recession?
Yes.
It had nothing to do.
It was the reason.
Can I finish the question first before you scream yes? You had nothing to do with the It had nothing to do with the sales of oil internationally.
Annie, as at the time President Jonathan handed over administration to him, our GDP was still intact.
I'm talking about recession.
Wait,
Hold on.
What I'm saying.
No. Don't go to GDP. It has nothing to do with GDP being intact.
Yes.
You said recession was because single-handedly because
it did not form government.
He did not form government.
No economic team.
And then I'm saying that it had nothing to do with the fact that the oil prices at that time also fell.
The oil prices, falling did not contribute to that recession, because the oil price actually started falling, I think, 2014. It was coming down, but it did not affect the price of a food item in this country. It did not affect the economy at all, because they were still managing this economy.
I understand your drop. I hope you know that we're talking of the drastic drop, not that you lose a few cents here, it fluctuates, goes up and goes down. We're talking of where we saw tenths of dollars taken away from what we used to have and come all the way down to $20-something per barrel.
And let me tell you, there was a time in this country that oil was $9.
There was a time. There was
yes.
a time when your naira was equal to the dollar. Hold on.
No, not that time.
Exactly.
It was not that time.
But then at that time,
That
how much
time
was
was
it?
nine this thing. When
At that
Obasanjo
time,
came,
how much was your
when
naira to the
Obasanjo
dollar?
came, when
At that
Obasanjo-
time, it was $9.
This thing was 20 something dollar per barrel of oil. The point there is this.
Yes.
We are talking of good economic manager. Any good economic manager, we assemble a team. We assemble a team, a government that will drive the economy, that will go back after all. During Bush administration, America wanted to recession.
I agree with your point when you said, a good economic manager will assemble a team. But when you said, the point where I needed you to emphasize on or expatiate on was when you said single-handedly that was the reason why we ran into recession.
Yeah.
That was why I needed you to explain that, because a lot of people believe that whether you had a good economic team on ground, you have to check the variables as to what was our support system then. We relied heavily on oil.
Yeah,
and we saw that from $100+ lump down to $24 per barrel, 24, 26, I can't remember. That in itself is enough to affect the economy.
Excuse me, you are looking at the price of crude oil. You are not looking at policy. There was no fiscal policy in place. There was no monetary policy in place.
Did you understand what I'm trying to say? That even if that were a contributor,
yes,
you have thrown away the fact that this problem too with oil sales did not in any sense or in any way affect the economy.
Yeah, it's the oil can affect economy, but not to the magnitude. It happened.
Fantastic.
It happened.
So it
for
did
not
affect.
forming a government.
So you're saying now, what you're trying to say here now is that there were reasons why we went into recession. One of the reasons was that we didn't have a government formed. One was that the oil prices dropped.
Partially. Partially.
All right.
So
I don't care whether you say partially. You finally did admit that it was.
Obama came in. The economy of America was in shambles during Bush this thing. When Obama came in, what did Obama do? Obama brought policy that lifted the economy. There was no policy, no fiscal policy in place, no monetary policy in place. Even the exchange rate, moved to 500 or something naira per dollar. And everywhere was heated up. Until everyone was shouting, phone government. So time is of the essence.
And you believe it's as critical as infrastructure and capital?
In fact, time is even more important than others, because you have 4 years constitutionally provided, and for me, this 4 years is just 3 years, because the last year is for election.
Okay. All right.
So
we got your thoughts
Modi.
there. I'll have to just wrap you up there. Sorry, because of time. This is already way past the time we need for real talk. Let me get your thoughts, Chief Loveday Okere.
Thank you. I just decided to be exercise patience, avoid interjecting or bidding man.
Yes.
You see, before I go into the real issue, which is timing here, let me just use just 30 seconds to correct an impression, just like you have tried to put it right, that it was not as a result of delay in formation of cabinet that led us into recession.
Alone.
It was part of it.
In fact, I don't even see it as part of it. Okay. Because if we attribute it as part of it, it means that we do not have institutions in the country. Because there are pump secs running these ministries when there are no ministries. So if we say it is as a result of that, it means our institutions do not work except we have politicians in power. Now, I want to recall you that in 2014, before President Buhari came into office, the former finance minister, the coordinating minister, told us that because of the lack of will of the President Jonathan-led government to serve, that Nigeria should tighten their belts for the worst in the nearest future. And it happened after 1 year. We went into recession. It's on record. It was made public.
Yeah.
So you cannot come and tell me that it was because Buhari did not form a cabinet in 6 months. That was why we went into recession.
You don't think that you don't have people who would drive a policy? Because yes, you have PAMSECs. We agree that they're PAMSECs and that these agencies must be able to work notwithstanding. But that when a government, especially a new government, comes on board, that you have to have policy drivers, which we expect that the ministers represent. And that the policy drivers will have to make sure that whatever ministry that they are manning is in tandem and working in accordance with what the objective of the executive
and
is.
You see, there are running institutions in the country.
Hold on.
The institutions
Do you know
are
why
running.
I'm saying that the institutions are run? Of course, you bring a paper before somebody, they will sign. You take it to the next office, they will stamp. They do all of that.
When there is no
when
minister.
it's just like when a minister comes and says, our focus on our project is to get this road done now. It's very different from we just running the papers round and we're checking whether that ministry is maintaining
The law
that.
does not say you cannot carry out a project except there is a minister.
But have we been saying that?
There is no law like that.
Have we been saying that?
We have an institution already established. The ministers only come in and run through the bureaucratic system that is already established.
What is
And
that
goes on.
present
But let
now?
me come to the timing so that we don't waste time.
Please.
So now, on the issue of timing,
Yes.
I want to agree with the writer on the issue of timing. It's very, very important, even to individuals, even as a person.
Yes.
And that is why, even in this year's studio, every of your program is timed. Once it is time for you to change another, you give away for some another person. Even in these institutions, universities, where you have 45 minutes or 1 hour to lecture. Once your time is up, you go. So time is very, very important because it is the time that brings in events. That it is also the events that brings in personalities. It is the personalities that brings in characters of these personalities. And characters ushers in attitude. Now it is the attitudes that will now define what you are made of as a man. That is why I say time. I agree with the man that time is very, very important. You see, if I were President Buhari, I will do a different thing this time to see whether I will get a different positive result. Because it is often said that you cannot continue to do something all the time and expect to get a different result.
All right.
It is over 3 weeks, getting to 1 month now. Ordinarily, he is supposed to have submitted the list of his ministerial appointees to National Assembly. We are waiting for a screening and confirmation. But I don't know what he is waiting for. Before you know what is happening now, the likes of Oshomole will heat up, will confuse him. They will confuse him. They will make him not know whether to say. I'm telling you, because this country will have seen a situation where people are focused, trying to do the right thing, and you see somebody somewhere come and confuse you. You don't know where to get. Because Buhari, whether I like it or not, he is the president of the country. But he is a human being. He has blood and water running into him.
Right.
There are individuals that can also come and influence his opinion.
Right.
He may mean well for this country, but I know that.
But you know,
me.
but I know, but you know that regardless who is influencing who, that the bane of that administration lies with the president. So whether he has been influenced positively,
excuse me.
I know. Hold on. I'm just trying to, in order not to seek excuses, whether he has been influenced positively or negatively, it is still his final decision.
And I'm worried.
It is his final decision.
And I'm worried because 1, I'm a Nigerian. 2, I'm a member of APC. 3, the future of this country for my children and the children of other persons is more important than whatever we are doing today. So, if because of 1, 2, 3, 4 persons that are in the seat of power, in the corridors of power, are trying to make things difficult for Nigerians to have dividends of democracy, we have to shout.
The
We have
cabal.
to shout so that the president will sit up.
All right then.
If there are few persons that are, I don't want to start calling them. Otherwise, I would have mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names.
fact,
But the president should sit up and give us ministers to hit the ground running. Nigerians are yearning for that.
The right spirit is upon you. There is an assassination of character here.
The right spirit is upon you now.
Please, there is an assassination of character.
Whose character?
I represent
Whose
the
character?
humble person of Ushomole. I'm not holding
Why you are trying to
assassinating me. No, that man will not. He has been running the party very well.
The right spirit is upon
let's not
both
just.
them now.
He has been running the PC very
Okay,
well.
let's move on. All
Let
right,
nobody come out to say he will.
All right then. Regardless what both of you say, let's move on. The last one here is, he says, a purposeful leader can be defined as one who does not ignore clear threats to the economy and security of the nation. He went on to mention how the government had given a 72-hour quick notice to criminals and road blockers, and over 3 weeks now they're still there in Apapa. He says it shows lack of leadership. He also went on to talk about headsmen terrorists. He says he first started to imperil the security of the nation. The federal government of Nigeria could not foresee the danger to our food security. First, the problem was ignored. Headsmen killed about 300 citizens in Agatu, Benue State, the nation's main food production belt, and the president of Nigeria did not even visit the place nor send relief materials. Then excuses followed. In a shameless demonstration of blaming the victims, the government announced that headsmen were provoked. The headsmen went to Plateau. He went on and on about how the issue of headsmen or terrorism has continued unabated. But for me, that has nothing to do with the area of going forward as concerning the speech he gave. I thought he was going to rely on the speech as a mode going forward, but he's relied on some of the actions of the president in the past 4 months. So let's draw that in as part of his explanation why he thinks the president obviously will be unable to take us out of being the food capital for the next 4 years. Emmanuel, what do you think?
Well, what I think absolutely is just that, yes, why he is going backward, but he is saying that these are the antecedents of an unserious-minded leader or leadership. That's what I understand from all those ones going back to Agato and all the rest of them. And then we cannot discount the fact that, yes,
that happened.
Herdsmen attacks with farmers are also drawing us backward because of bringing in famine and all that. It might not be long. We may be encountering famine in this country because of lack of food as a result of the destruction of farmlands. However, I think I agree with him that, the question I asked when we were having it on newspaper review is that if government come out and says, so people, get out of that place you are blocking. This is coming from government, not from Emmanuel Nduku, a single individual Nigerian. And then those people stood up, look at themselves, raised their shoulders, and stayed there. Who is actually in charge? Government or those people? That is a question that leadership should answer. However, I look at this thing where there are clear signs of a threat to the economy, and the leadership is not taking all the steps with the speed of light to remedy the situation, then if anything happens, leadership should bear the brunt. Simple.
Okay.
And I believe that, yes, if anybody as a government or any institution established as government does not draw the clear demarcation that between punishment and reward, I tell you that country will be running without achievements.
All right, let me get to Chief Loveday on this. Chief Loveday. Okay, sorry. What did you mean? Let me get to you.
Yeah,
on the issue of fighting terrorism, he says particularly the president hasn't done much concerning headsmen, clashes that we've had over the years. Mentioned Agatu, mentioned other places that they have continually they've continually wreaked havoc. And as a general issue, the threat to security. And he says if security is not, such a maintained as a focus of this administration, you cannot ensure that you can continue to grow the people in such a manner that food will not be a problem.
Yeah, the writer was right, and we must, like I said, appraise most of the words that are used there, and you can see from the line of write-up there are things to pick out. and one of such is there is a high level of lack of confidence when it comes to security. The people are now resorting. We've seen people make different kinds of utterances, ranging from, the action of this particular present administration in terms of insecurity. The case of Agatu was a clear case of where we would have thought that government would have, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari would have, visit these people headlong, one-on-one. And this was lacking in that area. And we saw the issue of herdsmen. It has become, in fact, the headquarters of herdsmen, Benue Plateau, there is this reoccurring, it has become a recurring decimal at every point in time. One farmland is being destroyed. One herdsman would take on 20 or 30 persons on a daily basis. People are buried in their mass grave. And we have seen IG of police, relocated. And upon relocation, more killing occurs. And we've seen that government have not been, sending, using, his actions and powers to quail these things down. So this could even affect, the food, And remember, whether we like it or not, where we derive most of these foods, where these foods are coming from, mainly in the north. So, and when these things are affected, of course, it will affect the economy of the state. It will affect all facets of the state. So I think that the federal government have not done so much well, particularly this administration has not done so much well in terms of security. Look at the issue of corruption. We have seen the issue of, it is under this administration we saw some reptiles eating money. We've seen the issue of, monkeys attending, classes, all in the name of looking for where monies are kept. We saw the Gandojes case. We saw Miners Gate. All these things are kept in the shelf. And we thought that if government is responsive and responsible, government will come out and say, look, today we will fight corruption headlong. We saw the issue of Dasuki. So many things have been dancing around.
Yes.
So, and this...
In order to maintain the line of argument, it was terrorism, the writer particularly put as the fifth reason why we will not be able to pull out of being the food poverty capital of the world.
The writer is right.
Okay, then.
He's very right.
Obitima.
Yes, Annie, no reasonable investor will bring in his money into the situation we find ourselves in this country today. Nigeria is under siege of different shade and color of insurgents, terrorists, and that is a huge minus for this country in its drive for economic development. And unfortunately, I don't think even the president is thinking deeply in that line when he said that in the next 10 years, 100 billion will be pulled out of poverty. I agree with the writer that Nigeria may continue to remain the world poverty capital for a long time because there are no steps taken to curb this kind of hard-headed insecurity we are seeing this time. Before, these herdsmen, they only carry catapult and their bow and arrow. But since the past 4 years, I don't know what really emboldened them. I don't know the kind of spirit that came upon them. They are no more, they are not carrying AK-47. And yet, the current administration appear not to be doing anything. There's that kind of sense of entitlement in this assessment today, as if they own Nigeria. Because the authority is not taking any steps to curb their hideous activities. How can investors come in? How can how can people drive their business within the country? Especially the area every country is saying that there is an area we can now pull people out of this in agriculture. Herdsmen have driven the farmers out of their farmland. How can you compare Nigeria with India? Do you know the kind of huge agricultural program is going on in India? That today, even an egg, they've developed an egg that bears 2 embryos at the same time. In India, every woman in India is meant to go into poultry farming. And what is that program are you bringing in that area? when you have not curbed this
Insecurity.
insecurity, terrorism, how can you now say you pull people out of? I was alarmed last week when I had the report from UN that Nigeria is now 200 million people. I said what? And that 200 people, like my friend was saying here, taking our foreign reserve and taking our GDP.
All right.
What is it when they compare to the kind of which population
That we
now?
have. Okay, well, thank you very much. Got your thoughts on that, Chief Loveday? Let's get to hear from
Yes,
you.
and you see, the writer, I agree with some of his postulations, and I disagree with some. The poorest state of Nigeria could be the richest state of a Philippine, Niger Republic, even some part of Indian region. If you go to India, those who have traveled to India, you know the meaning of poverty. You see poverty, you will come back to thank God for Nigeria. Mozambique, Uganda. So the poorest state of Nigeria is the richest part of some of this country I mentioned here. There are so many others. So I cannot agree with the writer in that aspect that Nigeria is the most poorest nation on earth, or we remain poor in the next 10 years. That is a prophet of doom, and I say no to it.
But I mean, he's only relying on international data that has said
that data
you don't agree
is
with.
not acceptable. I don't agree with it.
Right.
It is a data born out of bias.
But the data
It's a data born out of mischief.
It's the data itself compared the fact that India used to have that much poor people, but we have already taken over that position.
You see, that's what I'm telling you, that particular information is born out of mischief. Because I've told you here that the poorest nature of Nigeria is the richest position of some of these countries I mentioned here. Just go out and
Yeah,
look
but you
at
know
it.
those people don't have figures like we have. They don't have a population of
Yes.
millions of 200, like somebody did mention. I don't know whether that's
India
true.
is more populated than
I
Nigeria
know,
now.
but then India has also put in place things to ensure that the people
Economics,
are pulled
okay.
out of that. It used to be the poverty
Yes,
capital,
who may have-
but according to international studies, India has put in place things that they have been able to pull
And we are
themselves
also
out.
putting in place. We
So
are
far,
putting in
but
place
so
now.
so far.
And
we
let me
still-
flow. Let me flow. So, be that as
It's
it
a
may,
hard one for him.
I want to come to the issue of
Like
the
it was for you too.
the issue of the herdsmen. I said I agree with the writer in some aspect, and I disagree with him
In others.
on other aspect. You see, on the issue of herdsmen, the president and the presidency has never shown us had never been sincere in fighting or curbing the problem of herdsmen in this country. They have never shown any will. They have never shown us any roadmap. They have never shown us any way out of the problem of herdsmen. Remember, I said here that it's very, very possible that I don't agree that the original herdsmen, call them Fulani herdsmen or whatever herdsmen, are the people attacking farmers. Because you cannot tell me that a man who is making a living through animal rearing will start killing people within. How can he rear again? His life is in danger. People may have infiltrated. So the president ought to have fished this out and look for, and the only way out is to see how to centralize the activities of these
Herdsmen.
herdsmen. So all this while they have been talking about the grazing reserve, but they have not come up to say, okay, this is how. The other time I postulated an idea, I suggested that in each zone of the country, in each of the geopolitical zone, there could be one particular area where they will say, we centralize these cows.
Or build a ranch.
A kind of ranch,
The
yeah.
ranch, yeah.
So if, for instance, the ranch is in Enugu State, for instance, now, if you want to buy cow from Imo State, Abia State, whatever, go there and buy, so that they will not be infiltrating everywhere. So the same thing in South, Southwest, Northeast. In the North, since it is their business, they can start to put it in all the states. Do you understand me? So that we will have peace in this country. So the presidents have never come up with a solution to curb that particular problem.
Alright.
Now, the issue of, and come in please, the issue of insecurity all around. You see, let us give it to the president that he has tackled Boko Haram headlong. He has done enough on tackling Boko Haram. But it's as if he has put in all his effort in fighting Boko Haram, now leaving kidnappers, leaving banditry, leaving I have said about herdsmen. So that is why, or that was why, for the past 3 months, it is always difficult to pass whenever you are crossing East-West Road. Until you cross those areas, Elbidima and Chimene knows that they are from Ikure.
Yeah,
so they know that area. So until you cross that area, you won't consider yourself that God has granted you a safe journey. Do you understand me? So ordinarily, the government. You remember what happened when some journalists were kidnapped at Akwa Ibom, between Akwa Ibom and Ngwa, when they were going to Akwa Ibom some time ago when Goodluck Jonathan was the president. The president said no, this can never happen. You must release them. And the people said no. The president deployed people into that forest, and they were fished, and the journalists were released. So, but here, bosses will be kidnapped day in, day out, and nothing happens. So the president should look into other form of insecurity aside terrorism, aside Boko Haram. You know. So if you're talking about the issue of terrorism, I have said president has shown some level of he has tried. Now we are talking about banditry. Recently, I heard that how many numbers of persons were killed in Zamfara State. So it means that the insecurity in this country is now growing up again instead of reducing. So the president must do something now. Whatever he needs to he needs to do, he should do it to make sure that we live in peace in this country. Because some of us who have never been to some part of the north, if you send me to north, I will say I won't go, even though people are still living there. So we should live in a country where at any point in time, you are willing to go there and do your business and come back willingly without any fear of attack. So that is my position.
Okay, good. We got it on that. Well, you particularly mentioned the issue of in diverting from the issues here. I think we've comprehensively looked at the issues here, but you did mention how certain parts of River State itself was facing her own sort of terrorism. And I quickly want to talk about the forthcoming anti-cultism summit that Today FM is organizing. It comes on the 6th of July. We spoke to the Nigerian Police Command here in River State, particularly because we need their input on that. They will have to be part of the stakeholders at the event, because we will not be able to deal with this issue without the Nigerian police fully involved. And we can't get to the bedrock of the problems without them also, giving us what challenges they face on the ground while trying to tackle with this and what they think could be the reasons towards that. So I'll just quickly play for us what the spokesperson for the Nigerian Police River State Command had to say as concerning this.
The summit is coming. It has come at a better time. The time is right, and then I think what we need at this stage is enough aggressive sensitization, aggressive awareness campaign, so that we'll be able to reconscientize this, to reshape their thought pattern, and to see how they can embrace peace and drop their criminal activities. So this summit is timely and it's a welcome development, especially in this time that the state is bedeviled with court activities and killings. So we are in support of this summit. We identify with you and we'll be there to make our inputs, and we encourage every peace-loving person from the state to join hands to ensure that this project succeeds.
All right, so very recently, we did notice, though, in somewhere here in Rumosi, we did cover the event where some cultists actually denounced their positions and said they want to be able to move around freely. They want to be able to, get themselves back and be responsible humans within the society. Once again, in speaking about how much this is an issue in River State, and whether this is the right time to even talk about it, because while we are trying to delve into the issues, we still see that there's a lot of cult war being waging on different cult groups trying to show supremacy. Manuel?
Well, I think it's like Omoni said, it's the right time because it can never be better than now. And I think it's part of the conscientization, as he says, creating more awareness and all that. That's exactly what the Today FM Anti-Cultism Summit is going to stand for. That you tell people exactly what is happening. And of course, all of us are witnesses of these particular events that are unfolding with the greatest frequency. But the carnage is foisting on also the humanity in River State and perhaps beyond is what should be known. And then proper solutions, at least as far as much as people could bring up. And I quite agree that some, because before you become a cultist, you must certainly sometime have been a normal human. And there's a way they will talk about all these issues that humanness in you will start nudging at you.
Yeah.
Am I doing the right thing? Won't I go back to the normal lifestyle? And of course, I don't think any cultist, a known one, will be walking very freely. Because you see, if you watch lion in the bush, you know that it doesn't walk straight, run straight. As it's looking forward, it's looking backward because always antagonistic. Fear is also helping, holding it, just like the dog also at home, which is the lion of the home. You see that fear will always be holding them. And that is what happens to these cultists. As they are going, they are, in fact, enveloped by fear. Right. So most of them will now agree to come back to normalcy. And it's been happening. But I hope, as they agree they are going to come back, they will always come back. Let it not be we'll come back in the day and then not come back in the night.
Right then. What did you mean?
Well, I think I'm happy with what the studio is coming up with. And it's a good one, very timely. And just as the police PRO said, well, we've had a lot of symposiums and programs, but this is, I think, one of the best of its kind because it is rooted down from the media house. And this is the only way and medium where even the mad person, the man in the rural area, can cash into information. So it's a good one, you know. And but I think that the media consciousness must start from media and down to the society. And like I said, the issue of security is not for just one person; it's for everybody. Just as Chief said, you know, before one begin to say, "I want to be part of," you know, becoming a cultist, he could have been in his normal syndrome. Activities may have led him to, you know, be part of violence. But like I said, you know, coming out with this kind of program, yes, we're well applauding. The issue of addressing the issues headlong, yes, must be one of the things in the front burner. Then secondly, the causes, employment remedies must come up because I'm sure this is not the first time the studio is coming out to speak against this. These have been part of this studio and we've addressed it as panelists. So I think one of my positions will be that, you know, in handling this, you know, these causes and remote causes must be in the front burner. Secondly, I'm happy that the police PRO, whom I always respect, you know, he's always there, he's always in the front line. If you call him, he picks. You know, let them be part of it. Thank God you have extended your notice to him. And I'm happy that not only that, the opinion leaders and chiefs should be part of it, the town hall. And secondly, while we are going on this, the issue of employment must be addressed.
Definitely.
We must profile those that are coming in, skill acquisition, then encouraging the skill acquisition. Well, let me just appraise the studio once again.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam.
Yes, Ade, kudos to Today FM. This is a classical social responsibility from this industry to the entire River State. I don't want to really delve into or preempt what to be discussed in that summit or what may be the outcome. But I believe that whatever idea will be generated from that summit should be passed on to the government. Thank God the police, who is the main manager of the security, this thing, will be part of it. So let us see what will happen after the
Fantastic.
summit.
Opitima, thank you so much. Chief Loved your Kerry.
Yeah, Annie, I wish I have the financial muscle. I would have, been part of.
We'll check your financial muscle. You have.
I would have been part of the
Sponsors.
of this particular program, because there's a saying in my place that when you see the cock, crumbing rubbish in the waste bin, that you should try to pursue the cock, because you wouldn't know who will eat the leg at the end of the day when it is cooked. So when you see any child behaving bad, it is a responsibility to call the child to order, because you wouldn't know what the child will become tomorrow. The child may be of help to you tomorrow. So I think Today FM has taken the bull by the horn, is leading the way of making sure that at least they are paying back. This is a way of paying back to the society, to Rivers people. So I thank you people for that. You see, Annie, let me also use this opportunity.
Please do.
I know there is crime everywhere in the country, in Rivers State, but whether you like it or not, there are still areas where the crime rate is low. There are areas where it is high. Yeah. So let me use this opportunity to congratulate and thank the people and the youth of Eche. Eche has been relatively peaceful, at least within this period. No, I have to say this. You see, I'm from Eche and I go home almost every day. Every information, because it will not pay me any good if I come here today to say Eche is peaceful when Eche is not peaceful. It won't pay me any good. But as we speak today, do you know that in most part of Eche today, it is even the youths that are calling for peaceful disposition among even the chiefs and elders. Yesterday, 2 days ago, on Saturday, I was in my community where we inaugurated our CDC. The youths came in their numbers and was begging the chiefs and said, please, don't do anything that will bring insecurity to our community. You see, if we can go around like that in the whole of our state, we'll have it very, very peaceful. Everybody will be in peace.
As we're trying to wrap up, sorry, I just need to cut you real short because we don't have that much time to remember those that lost their lives in the...
Come. You see the same thing. Talking about. So may they are so rest in peace. So, you see, we have been talking about vandalism of pipeline. So
but Shell was maintaining it. From what we understand, Shell was maintaining that particular pipeline.
And I think equally coming in.
Yeah, and I think there was a leak. And so they were supposed to return and come finish up what they were doing. So between the time they left to return, the community around that area
went there to scoop. You see, that help themselves. Thank you. That is what we are praying. You see, you don't near the pressure line. You don't even dare to near there.
And the committee would have informed.
I think you see, for information available, over 150 persons lost their lives. These are fathers of women. These fathers of children, husband to wife, and even women may be involved. I even heard that one tapa was burnt on top of the factory. So please, the youth of Rivers State, please let us embrace peace.
Because I would believe that once that sort of information was note or received that there is a leak here, you begin to evacuate people from close to that.
I think
like you said, a palm wine tapper, perhaps innocently going about his business, but that information should have been able to have been disseminated around that community that there is a leakage here. Nobody should go within this perimeter in case there is an explosion, so nobody will encounter, or there will be no loss of life. But of course, in that kind of situation, what we'll find is that we're actually encouraging ourselves on how to go scoop this and then make quick money and lose in the end.
This is where I blame the fair share of the blame to the companies.
No, let's wait for official investigation.
If there had been, we have maintenance. Now, before this time, there was information that they were supposed to officially maintain that place.
It was routine maintenance. Routine maintenance was what they were carrying on at that area, and there was a leak. So when they finished, the leak was when they noticed the leak. To come back now, the next time to come back and then fix the leak is when this incident happened.
Well, but
I will have. I agree with you. When I'll have, if there was a leak, knowing the danger of what that leak would be, maybe
there would have been timeous attention.
But the point there is that the committee would have called on Shell immediately.
Do we know if they did?
Yes. No,
Do we
that's
know if
one
they
thing.
did?
That's one thing.
Let us wait for official investigation.
Which investigation
they,
again?
They will come up
when
with
we
their
have an
reports.
eyewitness account.
I believe that, for the companies involved, they should have done an immediate return to site. But then again, the people of that community should have stayed away.
And what I know,
I have
they
to
have
go with myself.
They should have stayed
If
away.
Emmanuel Dugwe sees a pipe that something is gushing out from that pipe, whether even if it's water, I'll give a distance. I tell you.
Which is true.
My problem is those who died on palm trees and all that.
This appetite to say that this is Kuwait is to make money. That's what drives some of this.
Let's quickly get to our listeners now as we wrap up on the show. Our listeners, of course, you can be part of this by sending us your thoughts. Send it to us on 07019339962. Or you can also do that by calling us on 0810-951-0951 or 0810-951-0951. Send us your thoughts to 0701-933-9962, either as text message or as a WhatsApp message. You can also go do this on social media. Our handles are at TodayFM951 on Twitter and Instagram. And on Facebook, you can please like our page, www.facebook.com/Today95.1 FM. All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back. We'll be looking at your thoughts on these issues.
This announcement, Comrade Jinjiri Bimato, MD CEO, Dio Peaceful Service, congratulate the Deputy Chief Whip of the State 9th Assembly, Honorable Major Jack, on his birthday. I pray God give you vision and strength in this new age, more joy, peace, and happiness. Happy birthday, Honorable Major Jack.
This text message here says, a synergy of states and local government areas with federal government to move Nigeria forward. The South-South Geozone can take a lot of initiative, similar to Lagos and Ogun. Edo is shining. A discussion to maximize South-South potentials will be beneficial. Federal government has not met our expectations and kept faith with some of our promises. This is from OJ. And this here says, Annie Akachi wasn't pulled down. Okay, he says he passed the area yesterday on his way to Owerri Airport. Chike from Port Harcourt, you sent that in. Morning, Annie and all analysts. Please, I opine, having listened to the submission so far made in the issues raised, that a population control, 2 persons per family, is a central solution. Can you feed 1,000 persons with 2 cups of gari? Members of the 1,000 that did not get the gari will seek gari in the next neighbor. If you like, call them longer truth. Redefinition of our national value. Do we have any? I think only money. I can only think of money, which is the god Nigerians have started worshipping, according to Boma Erokusima, the late ace broadcaster. Good morning, Annie. Okay, thank you. I'll equally open the phone lines to immediately so that we can have both angles covered real quickly. This here says, Wodi and Chimene always support. All right, leave Wodi and Chimene to support who they want to support. You support who you want to support. Phone lines are open, 0810-951-0951. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Annie.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is DK in Port Harcourt.
All right, DK, go ahead.
My greetings also to your guests in the studio.
Good morning.
You see, Annie, I'm one person that does not support somebody blindly. Obidi Mark said something very instructive, that is, people say, now this leg, where now go take reach Umahia, which capture the slow pace of this government. However, I think Buhari is unlucky to have inherited a rotten system of over 30 years since he was overthrown. As Chief Okere rightly pointed out, Okenjo-Iweala told us before Buhari government that Nigeria should brace up for difficult times ahead, just as Umaru Diko also said during Shagari government that Nigerians would eat from dustbin. These 2 statements have come true. These two statements are indications that the rot in Nigeria has been a long-standing one, even before Buhari faced and second coming. His comings have always been to remedy a bad system modeled by others. On the issue of delay of forming government, I want to say that the delay is partly as a result of bad politics, of waiting for some party members who are still in electoral tribunal to see if they fail to be a part of the government. So the president should just have the political will to take positive decisions, knowing that posterity is waiting to take account of him. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much for your contribution. Hello, today 95.1 FM.
Hello, Annie. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Brian Michael from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead.
Greeting to everybody in the studio. Actually, I'm speaking because of the summit that the Today FM is organizing on 6th of next month. It's a welcome development, actually. But there is a local balance that my people use. They say that aka otu aka rotamanu ozua oha. Will really understand what I'm saying. It means in English that one hand touches an oil, it will now reach the other ones. Actually, the summit is for the former cultists and the kidnappers and all that. But what about the people that have been victims of those kidnapping and perhaps the killings? They may have been having that, nurturing the grievances, harboring resentment, planning how to revenge for the harm that is caused to the members of their families and relatives and well-wishers. So what I'm saying in this regard is that the chiefs and the community should also see a way to reach out to these ones, to ask them to forget and shoot their swords, so that in one way, the summit will not be planning to calm these youth down, while in another way, there are other grievances youth who are planning to revenge tomorrow after we think that the courtesan and the other evils are stand down in the community, while by those who are planning to retaliate will resurrect another series of crimes in the community, whereby seeing it as if they are calming the situation down, while another ones are mounting up. So they should try a way to reach out to this one so that they also shoot their sword and make forgiveness so that it will be a total peace.
We got your point indeed. Thank you so much.
That's the reason for the summit.
Yeah, everything. That's it. Everything. But what did you say? You kept saying they will arrest them. They arrest. Of course, if you commit a crime, you'll be arrested. But the reason for the summit is to ensure that everybody is able to come to a compromise and going forward. Hello. Hello, today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Annie, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Lawson. I'm calling from Yenegua. Greetings to the guests there. I just wanted to ask Chimene a question. Those that appointed the ministers quickly over the years in this country, how far, you understand, were they able to move this country? To what point is the question I'm asking. People keep saying Buhari is slow, he's slow, he's slow. Those that are far, even the president himself asked that question. Instead, people call him Baba go slow. Those that were fast, where did they take Nigeria to? I don't like it when people, honestly, DK, I think the first caller pretty much summarized, you understand, everything I actually even wanted to say. People, this country is a country that people have spent time running aground. That's why most times when PDP come and speak, you understand, I feel they don't have the moral justification to speak. I don't even know what they want because they have come out openly to apologize to this nation, you understand, for bad governance. They even came out at some point and said they are rebranding. Even with the rebranding, we realized that it was a bad brand. So when the president has just come, is coming to resolve issues. Obidina is even attributing recession to not able to form cabinet. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked because when Buhari came, it was not just the global oil prices that fell. even production in Nigeria from 2.2, 2.3 million barrels per day dropped down to a mere 800 barrels. You understand? 800,000 barrels per day. You understand? So when you look at it, even at that point when the prices fell, Iran, most of the producing countries, even Saudi Arabia, they all also had a problem.
We got your thoughts. We got your thoughts. We got your thoughts on that. Thank you very much. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, please. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Mascot calling from Port Harcourt.
Mascot from Port Harcourt. Go ahead.
Well, and before I continue, let me align with Chief Love on the peaceful nature of Eche, nationally. Especially Eche is a very peaceful area. Kudos to the use of that area. Each time I drive to that area, I find that place is serene. And whatever they use they are doing, they should continue with it. And let it go around River State. It's serene and calm and quiet. So God bless the use of that area. Now, concerning the I want to align wholeheartedly with Obidimo Bidema. Whatever the writer said there is right, honestly. Remember how we entered into recession. We entered into recession not because the price of oil fell. It was because of the scarcity of dollar. Entered into a hydra-headed inflation, a super inflation. That's the Mr. President refused to devalue the naira, to allow the naira flow at its level. Now dollar became scarce, and even politicians started selling dollar. Dollar was not available to bid below the BDC, and prices of goods and services. Because we are an importing nation, we import everything. Prices of goods and services went up, skyrocketed. That is why Nigeria, people were not able to lay their hands on anything anymore. Nigeria went into recession. There was no job. People started laying off their people, the people, staff. There was no money in circulation anymore. So the only solution to fight recession is to pump cash into the economy. Today, I want to tell you that government said that we have technically left to recession. We are still in recession because there's no cash flow. If there are enough pumping of cash into the economy will stabilize. And people will get jobs, companies will start again.
All right, then. We got your thoughts on that, too. Thank you so much. We've got to move on because there's so many other people who need to say something. Thank you, Dole. This here says, Annie, the writer clearly stated that Mr. President... Oh, dear. The writer clearly stated that Mr. President was making references to India, and Indonesia should also follow the steps those leaders took to get their countries to the enviable position. You don't keep repeating the same thing over and over and expect a different result. Walk the talk, Mr. President. That's from Ogidi. Sent that in. Ogidi Casey. Another here says, Annie and the others, good morning. The writer... Unfortunately, okay, the writer's write-up did not make any sense to me. He even confused himself when he said Buhari did not say himself, and he also added that Buhari will not be there for the next 10 years. So he didn't know that Buhari will not be there for 10 years. That's from OC. OC, you sent that in. Then this here's a Buhari talking about 10 years when he will be there for... just a moment, I want to get that completely opened. When he hasn't even formed his cabinet 5 months after he won election and has been sworn in, he has given him 5 months already. Is he planning to amend the constitution? Is he planning to amend the constitution with Lawan and Wajir to stay beyond 2023? If he will stay to 2023, I'm afraid with this nail-like movement in government, Nigeria may go into another recession in the next 4 years. That's from Mr. Lore. I'm sure he's really upset. Good morning, Annie. There's Friday Olu from Choba. This is Friday Olu from Choba. The writer of that article read out was very much fixated on the federal government, leaving out the governors of the 36 states in his sermon. I don't want to believe that 100 million persons Mr. President envisaged could be taxed out of poverty in 10 years, giving quality leadership all resident in Aso Villa. He also failed to beam his analytical searchlight on the schemings, jostlings, intrigues, and nocturnal meetings in various states about who to be nominated as a minister, given our backward political culture. This could also impede the process. Good morning, Annie. There is a lot of interest in APC. All the leaders of APC, senators, reps, governors have interest in everything. That is the problem PMB have. Again, PMB has been a slow leader. Remember his regime with Idi Agbon? He's very slow in action. That's why Idi Agbon put him underground. Underground. Again, PMB's government is not run by himself. Thank you. This is from Stalo. Please, they didn't put him on the ground. That's not true. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the then coordinating Minister of Finance, once said Nigeria was borrowing to pay salaries. From her statement, you can conclude that the country was already in recession from 2015. Henry, you sent that from Nongwa. Good morning, Annie. Evangelist Onyedika Diamadi from Ozuzu Ije. For me, the panacea to the delay of the president in appointing his ministers is for the 9th Assembly to enshrine it in the Nigerian Constitution that any elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will not exceed 1 month in appointing his ministers. Also, the delay in the appointment of ministers by the president may be as a result of Nigerians from east, west, south, north are assumed and alleged as corrupt. Maybe Mr. President, with his binoculars, is looking for a lesser corrupt Nigerian to appoint him as minister. Yet Nigerians want and yearn for an overwhelming dividend of democracy in every nook and cranny of this nation from this new leadership that will elapse in 2023 by God's grace and enablement. We have this here that says, Annie, I've never seen anywhere in this world, I'm sure that's what you're trying to say there. I've never seen anywhere in this world where you reinforce incompetence, insecurity here and there, and security chiefs remain unchanged. No food security, and you want people to be out of poverty. Let's wait for his cabinet indefinitely. Sonny from Uzoba, you send that in. Annie, the writer is displaying the level of ignorance in governance by comparing Nigeria with America and India. Both countries hunting for talent, but Nigeria hunting for most beautiful girl, tribalism and politics, etc. America and India have a mission, a focus, and a vision that drives governance. This is from Shimile. So we should not hunt for most beautiful girls. Those other countries hunt for most beautiful girls too. How can you say that? Annie, I appreciate your modalities of the truth. I tell you that Obadima can never see anything good in Buhari for not being recognized. That makes him mock each time he appears in the studio. Mr. Ndukwe has stolen and disappeared. I don't understand.
I'm here.
What have you stolen and disappeared?
I'm still here with that.
Okay, no, sorry, Mrs. Madweke. Sorry, Mrs. Madweke has stolen and disappeared. Dasuki turned into an ATM machine. Chimenem is looking the other way. I remember Tambata Kalabo. Okay. From Buhari to say over 100 million people will be out of poverty in 10 years, 6 years after leaving office, but failed to tell us how many in his 8 years and his 4 years scorecard. That's from Elder. This here says the government has to set up I think that's a motion. Yes, a motion for the reinforcement of the cultists. Mere declaration by the cultists that they have repented and denounced cultism cannot obviate the problem of the spilled blood. This is from Festus D. Barney. Annie, the president's statement on the lifting off of 100 million Nigerians from poverty in 10 years is a mere postulation, and here the president knows that it cannot be in his time, so it will be a downright malappropriation and misnomer for him to own it up. The president is right. James Opongwa from Uzoba, he sent it here. So that was in the part of saying my leadership. Yeah. But for the writer, he says, well, he's going to be part of that leadership, so he should as well have added himself in it to give it the gusto he thinks it deserves. Annie, your guests keep mentioning, I think this will be the last text message, unfortunately. Your guests keep mentioning banditry, kidnappers, Fulani headsmen, and Boko Haram. Are they afraid of mentioning Rivers cultism and Enmoha kidnappers? Obedima and Chimenem keep calling Buhari. More than 200 people roasted at Comcom. Till now, Rivers State Governor has not made a single statement or sent anybody. This is from Stan. We agree that those problems exist, but you know, the reason why where our opinion pool was pretty much focused on the central and what the president did say in his democracy speech and what the writer thought was wrong about it and why we'll remain in poverty for the next 4 years. We've got to wrap up. Unfortunately, I can't take any more calls or text message. I apologize. What do you, Chimene? Let's start with you.
Well, first of all, let me start with the first port of call, which is the today's FM anti-cultism summit. I think is a very good one in the right direction. I think the public, I would join the studio to eulogize you people for this kind of gesture. And I would like other radio stations to emulate this gesture. And I'm sure it will permeate even into the rural area. This will bring a needed result. Secondly, in the area of the writer, advising Mr. President on what to do, I think the writer has done so well. I will agree with the writer into two. From the length and breadth of that write-up, he has done well, because we cannot be sleeping in our syndrome. We need results.
All right, then.
And that is what government is expected to do.
Odichibene Esquire, he's a member, Civil Liberty Organization, and Director Media, Obiako Youth Chapter. Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing me.
All right,
Thank
somebody said, please, where is the venue and how do we attend? The venue is Today 95.1 FM. The time is 9 a.m. All you need to do is tune to the frequency. You don't have to come. Just listen to us from 9 a.m. in the morning, July 6th. All right, then. No need to be at the studio, so I'm not expecting to see a team outside. Please let me repeat. You don't have to come here. Just tune into the frequency and you can be part.
On how to tackle this menace, cultism in River State.
And environs, actually. River State and environs.
Okay, River State and environs. It's all right. Which means Imo State, Abia.
As long as they... Why do you guys go and join? You left by Elsa that is just behind you here and jumped all the way. All right, go ahead.
So I wish Today FM a good success in that very novel venture. And I believe that the outcome of that summit, both the government of River State and the security managers should partner to implement whatever will be generated from that summit for the overall good of Rivers people. Then on the issue of the write-up, we have really analyzed that piece. One area is the issue of the gridlock in Lagos Port, which we really didn't touch. A few days ago, the Vice President and the Governor of Lagos State were there to see things how they are. And I was amazed when the Vice President said that the port is carrying, I think, 43 million metric tons of this thing, which is more than the capacity of that port. The government, knowing that what that port is carrying is more than its capacity, they should do something like an emergency to open up Port Harcourt Port, to open up Warri Port, to open up Calabar Port, so that that problem, because that is one of the things that also discourages investors from bringing their money, because so much is lost on daily basis because of that gridlock in Apapa Port. And we believe that it will also help in lifting people out of poverty if the right thing is done in decongesting that port and bring those things to this Port Harcourt Port, Calabar, and Warri Port.
All right, we got your thoughts on that. Obidima, JP journalist and public affairs analyst. Thank you so much. And then Chief Lefty.
Thank you very much. I wish that President Goodluck Jonathan had revised those policies that made Lagos port the only port that is existing in Nigeria today, leaving Calabar and Port Harcourt. I wish he had done that when he had the opportunity. So I don't know how possible it will be now that we don't have somebody from SASAT in the saddle of power in that capacity. But I pray that they see all the states as part of Nigeria to decongest that Lagos port and make Port Harcourt and Calabar port functional. So on the issue of the write-up we dealt with here, so I won't be surprised tomorrow if there will be a counter write-up from any quarter, irrespective of the reasonabilities or good intention of the writer, because Nigerians are formed of opposing and proposing of issues, not minding the objective of what anybody has in mind. So I wish that we look at the merit of that write-up and also take away one that will not help us. Then finally, on the issue of the anti-courtesan summit here, I want to really pray that God will give Today FM more wisdom, more knowledge, and the financial muscle to make it a laudable one. And I pray that at the end of that summit, it will impact positively on the demand of Rivers youth to drop arms and pick up pens. Perhaps picking up machetes for farming purposes and not for beheading.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we got your thoughts on that. Emmanuel Ndukwe.
Well, certainly time is very much of essence. It's not in doubt. I think the president should hasten up and, of course, in the right way, and then form his cabinet, because that will also help in driving the economy to its positive height. We also must state categorically that let government indeed fashion out its reward system and punishment, so that once a pronouncement is made from government, the people that go against it will be punished and others will learn a lesson from it. And then those who acted excellently will be rewarded. But a situation where you don't do that, the question will be, is it these deviants or government that is in charge of the situation?
All right, then. We got your thoughts on that. Thank you very much. Everybody else was part of the show. We do appreciate. We'll do this again tomorrow to join us. My name is Annie Abdusalam, and see you tomorrow.
To MD CEO Dio Peaceful Service congratulate the Deputy Chief Whip of the State 9th Assembly, Honorable Major Jack, on his birthday. I pray God give you vision and strength in this new age, more joy, peace, and happiness. Happy birthday, Honorable Major Jack.
Has never been this good. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Nigeria is more than a geographical expanse of land spreading from the north down to the south. Nigeria is the people that live in it. You are Nigerian. I am Nigerian. We are Nigeria. Nigeria gets better when we do. And there is no limit to the little things we could all do to make Nigeria a country we will be proud to call our own. Little things that matter, done for the love of Nigeria, is all we need to make Nigeria better and greater. This message is powered by Today 95.1 FM.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Yeah. I pray for wisdom. Pray for strength. Save me from frenemies. May nothing come to join our destiny. May nothing make me deal with their fallacies. For my house or even if they're overseas. Oh Lord, give me bazooka. Make I bomb them, scatter them from area. The fire will follow them. The Holy Ghost fire, my brother. No be small matter. As I look out through my window, me I know they see them. I be them don't enter house already. They follow me, smoke my coin. Oh Lord, now you will save me. And as I take another step, I hear whatever I hear. I say who they hear, who will come and bite me for here. Meanwhile, before the mosquito, I've been there. Now everything's suspicious in the air. I start to follow them slowly. I start to wonder why they won't shut themselves out from glory. I start to wonder how them know me. And if you check somewhere, them be the picture for my story. Oh Lord, save me from frenemies. May nothing come to join our destiny. May nothing make me deal with your fallacies. For my house or even if they're overseas. Oh Lord, give me bazooka. Make I bomb them, scatter them from area. The fire will go follow them. The Holy Ghost fire, my brother. Don't be small water. And if I do you wrong before, if I table only matter on the floor, will you believe me? Yeah, will you forgive me? Because I don't want to be living with no bad blood, and to be friends with the person is not by force. I want to live my life, I beg you, make you live yours, so make you carry your all, I make I carry my cross. Because I know it's not to explain your problem.
Like I'm feeling like, you know, I'm feeling like, yo, Lord, save me from frenemies, man. Two Baba right there. Two Baba right there. I'm hyped up for the Monday. Like, you can't listen to this and not be excited. Two-Face and YJ, man. Title of this one is Frenemies. It came out some 4 days ago. Yeah. And I first heard it. I watched the video. I was like, oh my goodness. Two-Face is the reason why we call you Two Baba. You're a legend in this. Shout outs to the man and to every other person who's hearing the sound of my voice this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. Good morning to all of you and welcome. Entertainment Today. It's a money day. It's a motivational Monday. It's what else? It's a man crush Monday. Yeah. It is a man crush Monday. And that's why I played you that song, you know. So if you have people who appear to be friends, but really they are enemies, well, God gives you bazooka. The fire go push them, the Holy Ghost fire. Anyways, guys, I'm the coolest kid on the radio, the guy you just have to love. You can call me Trace. And I like to start out today, first off, by giving a huge birthday shout out to a few people. All right. Ali Baba, today is the birthday for the man, the grand master of comedy, the father of comedy in Nigeria, I don't know what else you want to call the man, but this man has done outrageously well. And really, he deserves to be celebrated. So happy birthday to you, Ali Baba. Happy birthday. I wish I could pronounce your original name like but I can't. I don't want to go there. I don't think I'll do a great job at it. So let's just leave it a cool. let's just be cool with it. So happy birthday to the man. Also, a quick happy birthday to Solange Knowles, all right, the sister to Beyonce Knowles. Today's her birthday as well. Happy birthday, Solange. And 6 Lakh is also celebrating today. Happy birthday to 6 Lakh. And yes, if you're a fan of football, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this name, Lionel Messi. Yep. The spirit of football. That man is the spirit of football. Happy birthday to you, Lionel Messi. He's celebrating today as well. So, guys, if you're celebrating today and you love football, well, I think it's no coincidence that you're celebrating alongside Lionel Messi. So, have fun, enjoy your Monday, yeah. A lot of things to talk about. Yes, our Man Crush Monday. Yes, our Man Crush Monday goes out to no other than the one, the only, the one they call Burna Boy. I'm happy for Burna Boy. I'm happy for Burna Boy for a lot of reasons, all right? A lot of reasons. Burna Boy, somehow, you know, people felt like Burna Boy went down because I wouldn't say it's down, but he started making some kind of sound. The sound was something you can't really just relate with. I mean, his songs at one point were just exceptional. They weren't something you just vibe to in clubs. It was something you play on your way back home from club. Like, you know, it was dope. And then everything changed one moment. Burna just looked at it and said, I think I do Burna. And he did that. And it was whoa. And then there was Angelina, like, it was whoa. And then it was Dangote, and was like, whoa. And then, you know, it just went on and on. At the moment, there's anybody, and like, whoa. And Burna just kept going and kept going and kept going, working hard, dropping song after song after song, hit after hit after hit, back to back like that. He was just doing it. And he went abroad and a few tours, and then he went to Coachella and shut it down. Coachella was amazing. He shut down Coachella just like that, snap of his finger. He did it. African Giant. And the next thing you know, your brother's been nominated, BET, alongside Mr. Easy. It was like, what? And then yesterday, oh my people, yesterday, Burna Boy claimed the title Best International Act.
And he collected it. So congratulations to Burner. Congratulations to Burner. I'm super excited for the man. Thank you for putting Africa on the map. A lot of things follow that as well. His mother actually received the award on his behalf, all right? He was there. If you see how he was dressed, Burner was wearing 2 belts. I almost thought he was wearing 2 trousers. Like, I'm trying to understand the fashion sense behind this man. I know one time he said he would be damned if he went somewhere and saw somebody wearing what he was wearing, so he prefers to look crazy and wear whatever comes to his mind. Well, anyways, I think he just put that to full picture at the BET Awards. Anyways, his mother came in and she actually, received the award on his behalf, all right? And she said a few things that touched me and touched every other person out there. Like I said, guys, by the way, you can go on YouTube, all right? Just get on YouTube, Today FM 951 on YouTube, all right? On Instagram, rather. Today FM 951 on Instagram. And you can watch the video and get to hear what his mother said. But I'll quote what she said over here, all right? I'll just do my best to see if I can properly quote it. But she says, every black person should remember that they were first Africans before they became anything else. In fact, to put it the way she put it, she said, every black person should remember you were first Africans before you became anything else. She sent the whole place into a frenzy when she said that. It was just, everybody was up on their feet. The applause was loud. And at the moment where Africa is just out there, like, everybody wants to connect with Africa. Everybody wants to be part of what Africa is putting out to the world. And she came out on that stage. And you know how Davido also tried to promote African culture and the rest of them when he won his BET Awards. And after that, it was a whole new level for Davido. I think we're expecting same now for Burner. Like, this kind of stuff don't just happen. And it happened for him, and it's great. Really, it's great. So shout outs to Burner again, our man Crush Monday. Shout outs to his mother for repping Africa to the fullest. And thank you, Burner, because you're doing it big. And it goes out to every other person. Davido, Techno, Tiwa, everybody doing it big. Although some people still feel like Wizkid isn't known, all right? So I came across a podcast. Some music junkies abroad were actually debating on, the place of Wizkid and Afrobeats. And one of the guys said nobody knows Wizkid. All right, so I can't really say too much. I think what I'll do is to let you guys get to watch it yourself. You'll listen to it yourself, rather. I'll just play it for you now. I'll let you listen to what the guy had to say, and then we'll talk about it when we return.
Like, people wouldn't know the Wizkid stuff, like, maybe at all.
Nobody knows Wizkid.
You don't think so?
No, not. They try to make Wizkid be like the Sean Paul of Afrobeats, and he's not even close to what Sean Paul was doing.
No, of course not.
Even close.
He's not like a mainstream artist, but people know those kind of records, I think.
Yeah, but listen, even your tone is like, they kind of know.
Yeah.
No,
no, they're not like
you
big.
knew Sean Paul.
Yeah.
Like, even if you didn't like reggae music, you knew Sean Paul. That's what Wizkid was supposed to be, but there's no star of Afrobeat, and there's no star of this UK scene.
But he is still one of the top names that people will name when they mention Afrobeats. It's like Davido, Wizkid, you know what I mean? Like, those are the names.
Yeah, but that's because we are music heads. We're into music, and we're talking to other music heads. Like, let's go walk down the street and ask anybody who Wizkid is.
So you're saying there's no face?
There's no face of Afrobeats.
Right.
There's no face yet.
There's no.
And Drake, you think Drake?
All right, guys. So, yeah, a group of music pundits were having a conversation there in New York. And one of them said nobody knows Wizkid. And that kind of caught everybody's attention because at the moment, it's everywhere. I mean, on Instagram. All right, by the way, you can get on Instagram, love.trace. You can get to watch it. I posted it too on my page, so you can go look at it. LOVE.TREUIS. Very simple. Anyways, but do you agree with what the guy has to say? I know a lot of people will be sentimental about this, but let's be honest, all right? Let's put the numbers down and look at the figures and look at the stats and just try to, make some comparisons. Like, if you ask me, I think he has a point and he doesn't have a point. It's both ways. I'll tell you why. We have less than 4 minutes, so let's try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. Now, he compared Wizkid to Sean Paul and said, Wizkid isn't even close to Sean Paul, and that's true. Sean Paul brought reggae. Beanie Man tried to do reggae, and dancehall and took it abroad. He did his best. It was okay. Elephant Man, they did their best. It was okay. Which other person can I put out there? All right. So it actually really changed. Shaggy did great. Shaggy did really great with dancehall. I mean, songs like "Girl, You're My Angel" and "It Wasn't Me," and a couple of others on Church Anthem. It was "Why Me, Lord." Many songs. Like it was another one he featured Olivia on that was really great. Many songs he did, but then you would know really that Sean Paul came out of nowhere and took over everything. Like Sean Paul really was mainstream in the United States. Like you have Busta Rhymes wanting to work with Sean Paul. You have hip hop greats who want to work with Sean Paul. Sean Paul was big. Like you could get on the streets of New York and say Sean Paul and people know the man. That was where he was coming from. It was like, yo, Wizkid coming to the States, doing that collaboration with Drake. It was good. It worked out for the while that it did work out, and a few people got to know about Wizkid, but Wizkid isn't mainstream in the United States. It isn't mainstream. It's like bringing Drake over to Nigeria. I don't think so many people know Drake in Nigeria, and I'll prove it. He said something. They know Wizkid because they're into music. And I think same thing here. We know Drake. Many people who know Drake are young people who are, familiar with music and social media. My mother doesn't know Drake. She knows Wizkid, right? I'm sure your mom doesn't know Drake, but she knows Wizkid. And I'm pretty sure your dad might not know Drake as well, but he knows Wizkid. So if you put them in their spaces, like, you can't come to Africa and then begin to want to drag fan base with Wizkid. I don't think even Drake can pull that off, right? I don't think he can. He can't pull that off. He's great, he's big, he's known, yep. But really, Wizkid, Davido, these guys rock Africa. And if you go to America, it's quite different. I'm pretty sure if Drake goes to some other places, yeah, he's popular, he's known, he's a big name. And if you averagely would go to the streets and ask young people, a lot of them would know Drake. But if you go to the United States and you ask young people on the streets, a lot of them might not know Wizkid. And that's where this man is coming from. So he's saying, in essence, like, Afrobeat really doesn't have a face yet. Like, when you say dancehall, you can call, I listed a few names, Sean Paul, like really mainstream guys who did big, not just come in there, do a few collaborations and then you fizzle out. No, that's not what they're saying. Like, you're big, you're a force to reckon with. So he feels that way. I don't know what you think, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Unfortunately, we can't take them on the show, but we can do the conversation on social media. So you can get on Instagram, love.trace, love.treys, or you get on Today's FM Instagram handle, Today951 on Instagram, and let us know what you think about this conversation from the man. He says, well, not many people know Wizkid, and Wizkid, really isn't the face of Afrobeats. But that's that. We wrap up the show. Thank you guys very much, but I got to go. I wish time would let me do more. The recap is in the evening, though. After 6 is the time. You wouldn't want to miss it, so be there and stay tuned and have a lot of fun. In the meantime, the world news comes up next. Enjoy your afternoon. I don't know if it's cold, but it's about raining, yeah, I know. So enjoy your afternoon. The news is next. Capiche? Bye-bye.
Is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News.
Good afternoon, and this is the World News on your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. I am Ifemi Andrew. On the headlines, Chief of Army Staff charges commanders to weed out personnel with low morale from service. PDP condoles with families of victims of pipeline explosion in Oyigbo local government area, Rivers State. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana says federal government is not compelled to implement recommendations of EU on 2019 elections. And on the foreign scene, ringleader of failed coup in Ethiopia becomes fugitive. And now, the details. The Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuko Buratai, has said that the Army would do all that is necessary to fish out any bad eggs whose willingness to remain in the service is declined. Buratai stated this in his closing remarks at the Army Headquarters Transformational Leadership Workshop in Abuja, where he noted that the Army leaders should not wait for bad eggs to get out of the way, but the eggs must be kicked out. He said the attitude of a few bad eggs among the Army, whose commitment to Nigeria's national and military cause has reduced, has led to the setbacks in military operations. And 3 persons have been killed with about 20 others kidnapped following a fresh attack in Maradun local government area of Zamfara state. Several persons were injured with 500 cattle rustled away in the attack, which took place at the hometown of Governor Bello Matawale. Chairman of the local government, Ahmed Abubakar, said bandits stormed Faru village and Bachiri on Saturday, while an attack on Gamagiwa village was carried out earlier Sunday. And the River State Police Command has announced the rescue of 6 kidnapped victims from the hands of their abductors. The police said the victims were rescued when operatives of the Rumuji police station in a sting operation led by the DPO at Demola Adebayo stormed the forest at Eveku in Emoha local government area of the state. A statement by the spokesman of the command, Nnamdi Omoni, said the victims, including 4 youth corps members, were abducted last week in a commercial bus traveling from Lagos to Port Harcourt. The statement said the victims were rescued unhurt and have been debriefed, while their families have been contacted for necessary handover. In the meantime, the Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Usman Bello, has ordered an increase in security on the east-west road to stem the tide of kidnapping and arrest perpetrators. Meanwhile, the River State Police Command has commended the initiative of the Today FM 95.1 Anti-Cultism Summit billed for July 6, 2019. Police Public Relations Officer DSP Nnamdi Omoni described the summit as timely following the persistent cases of cult clashes by the Vel in River State. DSP Omoni said the command is interested in the summit because of the aims it intends to achieve.
Summit is coming. It has come at a better time. The time is right, and then I think what we need at this stage is enough aggressive sensitization, aggressive awareness campaign, so that we'll be able to reconscientize this, to reshape their thought pattern, and to see how they can embrace peace and drop their criminal activities. So. This summit is timely and it's a welcome development, especially in this time that the state is bedeviled with court-related activities and killings. So we are in support of this summit. We identify with you and we'll be there to make our input, and we encourage every peace-loving person from the state to join hands to ensure that this project succeeds.
The Today FM's Anti-Cultism Summit is first in a series of other agenda-setting summits initiated by your premium talk news and radio sports radio station to chart a way forward for a better Rivers State. The summit will be held next month, July 6, with Bobo Sophie Brown, Professor Andrew Efemini, Professor Austin Sado, Ken Henshaw, among others, as guest speakers. And in a bid to engender peaceful coexistence and cohesion, the Apex Chieftaincy Council of the Kalabari Ethnic Nationality, the Kalabari Council of Chiefs, have officially accepted and recognized Gibson Suku Tiger as Opusingi VII and head of the Opusingi Group of Houses of Kula. The chairman of the Kalabari Council of Chiefs, Charles Dolphin, and over 80 members of the council performed the traditional rites to accept Gibson Tiger into its fold in Buguma, the ancient traditional headquarters of Kalabari Kingdom. A member of the Opusingi family, Bob Opusingi, described the recognition of the Opusingi chieftaincy stool by the Kalabari Council of Chiefs as historic, while the spokesman of the Kula Supreme Council of Traditional Rulers, Fiala Okoye Davis, says the recognition of the Opusingi chieftaincy stool by the Kalabari Council of Chiefs has further given Kula its rightful place in the Kalabari Kingdom.
I appreciate the Amayana of Kalabari for the history of Kula. This is the first time our Opusingi stool has been recognized. I'm here to support what has happened here today. And I'm so happy because these are things that we expected in the past to happen, but it has never happened, even when my brothers are there. But today, I'm so grateful to God. I support everything that has happened here. I'm fully supportive. That's why I'm here.
Well, I'm so excited that today is a very remarkable day in history, that one of us, that the Chief Gibson Sugu Tiger, Opusingi VII, chiefs have been accepted into the Kalabari Sekobri. So it has given us our rightful place within the Kalabari Sekobri, which is the highest body of traditional rulers within the kingdom, the Kalabari kingdom. Number two, we have also been given our rightful place and platform and position to make contribution that will advance the cause and champion the cause and the development of the Kalabari kingdom.
In his acceptance speech, Tiger thanked the Kalabari Council of Chiefs for accepting him into its fold.
I feel so happy for the Kalabari Council of Chiefs, for them to accept me into their means. I am very happy and I give the Almighty God thanks. The Opusinge chieftaincy still have been recognized in the Kalabari kingdom. I'm very happy. Even the family are very happy.
Moving away from that now, the People's Democratic Party has condoled with the people of Komkom community in Oyigbo local government area, Rivers State, over the loss of lives at the gas pipeline explosion that killed dozens of citizens when Shell Petroleum Development Company was carrying out routine maintenance of the facility in the area. The national chairman of the PDP, Prince Uche Secondus, set the hearts of his party members up with the families of the victims. Secondus lamented the incessant hazard of the people of the Niger Delta due to the alleged neglect and insensitivity of the federal government to listen to the cries of the people. He charged the relevant authorities, including the oil and gas companies, to show some sensitivity in the plight of the people of Niger Delta on the health hazards they are exposed to as a result of exploration of their God-given natural resources. And if you just tuned in, you're listening to the World News here on Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, we have more news, the foreign scene, and then sports stories. Stay tuned.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the World News here on Today 95.1 FM, your premium talk radio station. And now to other stories. Chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Ishe Sage, has described the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, as a very weak man who lacks initiative. Sage, who is also a senior advocate of Nigeria, said this while lambasting the INEC chairman over plans to register more political parties ahead of the 2023 general election. He accused Yakubu of not being proactive and collapses easily under pressure, adding that the INEC chairman only articulates problems without any solutions. And human rights lawyer Femi Falana says the federal government must be compelled to implement some of the recommendations of Nigerian electoral reform committees before implementing those of foreign election observers. The senior advocate of Nigeria, in a statement, criticized the attention the federal government is paying to the report on the 2019 general election submitted by the European Union election observers. Falana said he was not happy the report of the EU is being celebrated by all stakeholders, including the media, while the reports of local monitors have been ignored by the federal government and stakeholders who are advising the federal government to adopt the EU report in its entirety. He, however, insisted that before the report of the EU on how to conduct credible elections be adopted, the federal government must be compelled to implement recommendations of the Justice Mohammed Uwais panel, Ahmed Lemu panel, and Ken Namani panel on electoral reforms. Falana said the recommendations and the report of the local election monitors are much more relevant than the report of the foreign observers. And the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Prince Uche Secondus, says the fear of insecurity and intimidation of judges, as allegedly raised by the Nigeria Bar Association, vindicates the position of his party that the ruling APC is obstructing justice from coming out from the nation's courts. Secondus said NBA through its president Paul Usoro in his speech on Thursday, which was unanimously adopted by the National Executive Committee of the association, alerted the nation that the level of insecurity in the country and the attack on the independence of the judiciary and the legal profession constituted a threat to the rule of law and, by extension, the country's democracy. According to Secondus, the NBA boss said the climate of fear allegedly instilled by the federal government undermined the independence of the judiciary and the ability of judges to act confidently without fear of favor in dispensing justice, as they are threatened, intimidated, and blackmailed by mostly the executive arm of government and their agencies at federal and state levels. In a statement from his media office, Secondus said the NBA alarm merely confirms the position of the PDP that the APC administration is allegedly shrinking the doctrine of separation of power to enable a full-blown dictatorship to blossom. The PDP national chairman noted that judges and justices, by their calling, cannot speak out publicly even if they are under pains, except through the bar, as has been eloquently and timely done by the Bar Association, and said that all democratic watchers should note these concerns. And the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a suit in the Federal High Court in Lagos against the Code of Conduct Bureau. In a statement, SERAP said it was suing the CCB over its claim that it could not disclose details of asset declarations submitted to it by successive presidents and state governors since 1999, because doing so would offend the right to privacy of presidents and state governors. According to SERAP, the CCB had last week refused a Freedom of Information request by SERAP, stating that asset declaration form is private information. But in the suit, SERAP argues that asset declaration of presidents and state governors submitted to the CCB are public documents. SERAP also argued that disclosing details of asset declarations of public officers such as president and state governors would improve public trust in the ability of the CCB to effectively discharge its mandate. It said the move would in turn put pressure on public officers like presidents and state governors to make voluntary public declaration of their assets. SERAP is, therefore, seeking from the court an order granting leave to the applicant to apply for judicial review and to seek an order of mandamus compelling the respondent to make available to the applicant information on specific details of asset declarations submitted to the Bureau by successive presidents, vice presidents, Senate presidents, speakers of House of Representatives, state governors, and deputy governors from 1999 to 2019, and to publish widely, including on a dedicated website, any such information. And now to the foreign scene. The suspected ringleader of Saturday's failed coup plot in Ethiopia's Amhara region is on the run. Officials said 4 top officials, including the army chief, were killed while thwarting the coup. BBC reports that flags are flying at half-mast after the federal government declared a day of mourning to mark the deaths. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has urged Ethiopians to unite against evil forces set on dividing the country. Since his election last year, Abiy has moved to end political repression by releasing political prisoners, removing bans on political parties, and prosecuting officials accused of human rights abuses. Africa's oldest independent country, Ethiopia, is also the continent's second most populous after Nigeria, with 102 million inhabitants. And now to end the news, here is a summary of our major stories. Chief of Army Staff Tuko Burta has charged commanders to weed out personnel with low morale from service. The PDP has condoled with the families of the victims of pipeline explosion in Oyigbo local government area of Rivers State. Also, human rights lawyer Femi Falana has said the federal government is not compelled to implement recommendations of the European Union on the 2019 elections. And on the foreign scene, we told you that the ringleader of the failed coup in Ethiopia is now on the run. And that was the news, edited by Victor Zayama. For comments and inquiries, you can call 0815-341-8657 or 0814-434-3502. You can send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com or you read our stories online at www.todayfmlive.com. And that's our package for the afternoon. Thank you for your time. My name remains Ifeemi Andrew. Bye-bye for now.
Is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Harcourt, are you ready? Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
The situation is critical. The issues are diverse.
You see, courtesan in quote is the surname of all other criminalities. But this year, courtesan has a new child known as banditry.
I'm sure you are aware that the 6th Division of Nigeria Army is court-martialing some of its officers for being involved in kidnapping.